Trust me. Usually want to sit there and make it come to day. Try to get food in the form of over. There's still concrete.
It makes the customer service people nicer.
Yeah, weird.
And we are live. Hello, hola. Oh, hey, I'm on call, so I may be checking out my phone and looking at stuff. You know, sometimes I've gotten quite a few calls today, so you never know.
No, cross our fingers, hope that
Everything's been pretty easy
everything
though.
at the medical system just
Hey,
behaves itself.
hey, it's Annie Vet. Hey, hola, Annie Vet and Stephanie. Hi.
And Andrew.
Andrew, Maximo. Hola, Maximo. Welcome to the channel. Nice to see you tonight. Jesse. Hi, Jesse. We're just going to give it a few minutes before we start. We were kind of going over our notes, like what do we want to cover on the topic of customer service? Aside from the fact that it can be very different.
Oh God, yes.
Perception is
Very.
everything. Perception is everything.
I mean, we've had some interesting encounters, and most of them have been 99.9% of them have been very, very good. I mean, you know.
Hello to Ruby and Lambden and Rick. Welcome tonight. Yeah.
You know, so just was something, we had something that occurred that would never.
It would never happen.
Ever have occurred in the U.S.
Ever.
And so we were driving away, and it was like, there's our live topic right there.
That's the live topic.
I mean,
it just blows my mind. I can't wait to share the story with you. Oh, thank you, Stephanie, about the hair. Gracias. Hey, it's the Besses. And how is
Terry's knee?
Yes, please let us know. Anyone who doesn't know, Lisa and Terry in Puerto Vallarta, well, Terry had to have some knee surgery. So we're wondering.
Curtailed his golfing events for a while.
Oh, hola, Arlene. Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, do we want to let's just jump on it, huh? I guess we'll jump on it. I'm going to pull up a couple of banners to help keep us on topic because, you know, I'm anally retentive and organized. Hi, Julie. Oh, thank you. Thank you. New do. It's short. I needed it to be short. Guys, we're in Querétaro, and it was like 90 today, and it's dry heat, so it's not horrible, except that there's no air movement in this Airbnb at all. And so it's very dry and stuffy, and it's really hard to breathe, in fact. And I've got a little fan blowing on me right now, and I needed to get rid of the longer hair because I'd wake up at night with my neck all sweaty, and it's just gross, right? You don't have that problem with wet hair in the morning.
Well, I wake up and the hair's wet, but it's not sticking to the back of my neck. Yeah,
it's just not fun.
My hair hadn't reached the back of my neck since high school.
I would have loved to see that. Okay, so we're going to talk about customer service in Mexico. And I think it's important to understand that when you come from a country like the United States,
you gonna pull it up?
I will.
Oh,
We're not there yet.
Oh.
when you're in a country like the United States, you are pretty much groomed to expect that an appointment is an appointment. It will happen in this window of time, and 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 the customer is always right, no matter what. Like you could work at Wendy's, you could work at a store at the mall. You're groomed to always give the customer what they want, whether it's right or not, whether the customer is really wrong or not.
Which has
Oh yeah.
created a culture that has become combative because a lot of them know they're wrong but still act like they're right, and you're going, bull. You know you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know that what you're saying is BS.
Right.
You know, I know it, you know it, but because this is the way the game is played, we all have to play it.
And see, when you come to Mexico, those rules do not apply.
Uno.
The customer is not always right. That is not something that is pounded into customer service here. There is customer service, and they will treat you very well, but they're not going to give you what you want just because you said so and you want it. And so it's something that takes an adjustment if you're not used to that. But there's a positive to it at the same time. And it's another one of those things where you have to culturally adjust your expectations because you are not in the culture you came from. You're in a different world now. And this is how it's done here.
Well, I mean, the very beginning of it is, you know, Buenos dias, Buenos tardes. I mean, whenever you're encountering anybody, there's always, you know, a greeting, and that, you know, that I think sets the stage for everything, because it sort of is like, oh, you know, we're all civilized, you know, so let's go and, you know, be nice.
All right. Hey, thank you, Julie, for the compliment. Let's just pull this up real quick for Terry's recovery. All right. So stitches are out and you're walking around with no walker. Nice. Very good. And hope that you're not in too much pain.
Well, you know, 18 holes, that's a good walk.
Yes, it is.
I'm just saying. You know.
All right. So let's start off with the different, I guess, areas of customer service. So one of those areas is service appointments, whether it's getting your cable installed, internet installed, electricity turned on, gas delivery, all those things. Usually when you're in the United States, you will get some notice that they will be there in a window of 2 to 4 hours. And they just kind of expect you to wait around for 2 or 4 hours, and they'll show up sometime in that window, most of the time.
Yeah, 90-some% of the time, yeah.
And that's just the way that goes. And if you call somebody in the United States for an estimate for some kind of work that you need done, whether it's construction, roofing, yard work, whatever it is, if they tell you they're going to be there, pretty much they're going to be there at that time because they want your business. You know, they want to make a good impression.
You would think.
So that's just the way we're programmed to expect things to happen. You get a window of time and the people show up and they provide service. It doesn't work like that in Mexico.
No, because I mean, last time I ordered gas for here, you know, oi. Okay, sometime today.
Today,
Yeah.
we've ordered water when we were in Huatulco. We got it like 2 days later. I mean, they did show up, but it was like 2 days later.
which, you know, some of the things you going, okay, it's not a big deal. There's others like, oh, well, water, you know, and we have learned, you know.
We just went and bought some water while we waited.
And, you know, you don't wait till the last minute. There are some things, you know, like if your internet goes out, well, we need the internet, you know.
Right. And part of, and like estimates, for example, you want somebody to come over and give you an estimate for some work that needs to be done. And maybe they'll come over. Or they'll come over real quick and they'll look around and give you a, well, I'll get back to you, with some prices, and then you never hear from them again. There could be times where somebody says they're going to come over and do something, but then you don't see them till next week. And the joke is mañana. Mañana means maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe never.
I mean, and part of it is they do not like saying the word no.
Mm.
They don't like disappointing. And so if, sometimes it's easier to say mañana and never show up and go, okay, it's easier than going, this is not a job I want to do. It's either too small, it's too big, whatever reason, instead of just saying, no, this doesn't fit my particular, repertoire or schedule or whatever, mañana. So, that's just one of those things that, is what it is.
Yeah. And that does take getting used to. I mean, we stayed in an Airbnb that was actually owned by some Gringos. And this guy's way of dealing with it was, well, if you tell me you're going to be here at this time, I'm waiting for 15 minutes. And if you're not there, I'll call someone else. That's because that's what he's used to doing in the U.S.
And you know what?
Yeah.
He's going to be making a lot of phone calls.
I think so, too.
I mean, that's just, it's one of those, of course, it's a little easier now because I don't have anything else really to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the States, you got people, we had schedules.
Time is money, money is time.
And we scheduled everything. I mean, it was like, okay, I need to be here at this time. I'm going to slot you in. I'm going to be home for this amount of time for you to come do this, and then that goes off. Then the whole schedule goes off and you're just like, oh man, now this has screwed everybody up. And, down here,
it's whenever.
Deal with it.
It'll get done when it gets done.
Mm-hmm.
It's not life threatening. It's not the end of the world. And if you're an uptight person who's really worried about your time and your schedules, it takes a while to get used to that.
The good news, I would say, is that if you adapt to it, it lowers your stress level tremendously because you're not doing the, let me look at the clock. Let me look at the clock. Let me look at the clock. Where are they? Where are they?
Yeah.
Where are they? It's like, hey, they're going to be here. And if they're not, it's not the end of the world.
No.
So,
and again, if you plan ahead, things like us waiting for water delivery for 2 days, the one time, well, that's on us for waiting till the last minute.
Yep.
Although he did say okay, he just didn't say.
He didn't say okay when.
He didn't say okay when.
I'll get over there. Okay,
Yeah.
he did.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And it is frustrating for a lot of people who come and they're not used to it. It's quite the adjustment.
Yeah, the first couple times you encounter it, you sort of have to do the what is going on. But you can't try and impose what happens on one side of the border to what happens down here because that just isn't going to fly,
See, okay, so I am gonna, so let's talk, Jenny, as someone that has to be logged in and in front of a camera. Yep.
Yeah.
I can't even leave to get a tissue. This is my biggest complaint.
That's, and you are working on a schedule from the, I'm assuming the other side of the border is setting the schedule.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to straddle the fence of going, okay, Mexico down here is going to be the way they're going to be. But over here, I have to be on time.
I'm expected to be here.
And so I have to abide by this. And not everybody over here is going to abide by this. So it's sort of one of those where you're straddling that fence, and that sucks. Fortunately, she has to work, but I'm sitting down here going, hear the knock on the door or the ringing of the doorbell, and it's like, okay,
Yeah. Kind of like the other day when they came to do yard work here and they needed us to move the car. Well, they could see me because I'm at the computer working, and they can see me, and they're going like this outside, getting my attention so that we can move the car. But I'm on a call. and I can't leave the call. So I'm yelling downstairs to get him. Now that's unusual. They needed us to do something like right then and
Yeah,
there.
and if they just come up and rang the doorbell, I'd been
Yeah.
like, okay, walk over. Hey, es
Yeah.
posible mover la coche? Sí, you know,
Yes.
and we'd have been, okay, good, not a problem.
Hey, Mark and
And
Paulette.
I'll give them credit. I mean, I moved the car, moved it out. They did all their weed eating and everything else. And then before I moved the car back, he stopped me and had the guy come over and take the industrial blower and blow all the dust off of the car that, that got kicked up when they did it. Gracias,
It's all
Well, no, back to the customer service. Oh, you did us a favor. Let's blow the dust off. So,
yes. And Mark and Paulette are
Yep.
back from their very big adventure. Their big European adventure. Hey, fotos familia. Hola. Estamos bien.
sí.
Sí. Estamos bien. Estoy muy cansada.
That's Romy.
Yeah. Muy cansada porque trabajo todo día. So I hope that sounded okay. I've been practicing. Oh, goodness. So she's on her family channel. Now it's all cool. Now we know your family channel. I'm going to sneak in and spy on you, right?
Uh-oh.
So Terry did a mile of walk, or 3/4 of a mile walking, no pain pills. Very good. And the hospital and surgeon, I bet there's going to be a good video on this.
Yep.
That'd be excellent information. Hey, Shane. As someone in construction, it's not uncommon for fires that need to be put out in a
Yep. I mean,
last minute rescheduling. Yep.
Always.
All the time. And so we're going to touch base on this, Terry, because this is part of it. My surgeon gave me his personal cell just in case.
Yep. I mean, coming up, we'll explain the whole thing that basically prompted this whole subject. So
we're not there yet.
I said coming up.
We're not there yet. I'm being anal retentive and organized. See, I did say it right. Yeah, I'm tired. And I know you sound, I know you know how that feels. And muchas gracias. I'm allowed to spy too. Okay. So that's like the initial one. The initial one really is about the service appointments, people coming, making calls, coming to do estimates, looking at work to be done, installing utilities, things like that, making deliveries at a scheduled time. There is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little more strict. It's a little more restrictive.
It's more structured.
Structured. In the United States, it's way looser here. And like Mark said, if it's something they just don't want to do, don't have time to do.
Yeah, whatever.
They won't say no. And they'll say, okay, I'll get back to you whenever. And then you never hear from them again. And, that's pretty common because they just don't want to say no. So it's just the way it is. All right, the other big one, and I think this is important too, going to a customer service desk.
I've only gone to one, and that was to get the booze to go in the box.
Well, and I had to go to one because I have a Telcel rechargeable SIM card, and when I got it, and I don't know if this was automatic, they make voicemail available to you, but it costs you extra. So people are leaving you messages, and you keep getting the notifications that you've got messages. But if you don't pay for the voicemail,
you can't get to them.
You can't access the messages. And I'm like, I really don't want voicemail on my Mexican number. I don't really use it for much of anything except for maybe official capacity and things like that.
Run more WhatsApp than anything else. I mean, that's...
Yeah, so I don't need voicemail. I don't need voicemail on my Telcel account. So the only way that I could really get it completely turned off and removed off the account was I had to go into a business office. I couldn't go into a Telcel store or anything like that. No, it had to be a business office. And I had to go to the counter and show them that I had these voicemail reminders and I didn't want voicemail, and got that taken care of. And then you had your one counter thing, and it was.
Well, it's happened more than once, but
Yeah.
it depends upon if you buy liquor. If it's under a certain amount, and this is dependent upon stores, some stores have lower levels than others, but typically 500 pesos, let's just use that as a round number. If the price of the bottle of liquor is under 500 pesos, the bottle will be on the shelf.
Oh yeah.
If
the more expensive ones.
Right.
Yeah.
If it is over 500 or whatever their level is, they put the box up there and the box is empty. And then you grab the box, you shop, you pay for it. Then you walk up the customer service counter, you give them the box, and they put a bottle and a receipt, and because what they do is they put a bottle in there and then they mark the receipt that you have now received it, so that you can't just go back out in the car.
Was that this last purchase for the birthday?
No, because that was under
a long time ago.
Okay. I think I bought a bottle of Goose or something, and it was like,
okay. It was over the threshold.
Yeah.
But something I noticed in the United States, again, most of the time, customer service desk has this mentality, whether you're at the grocery store, a department store, wherever you are.
Big box, Walmart.
Customer is always right. Make the customer happy. Do this, do that. Sometimes the people at the customer service desk are in a pissy mood. They might be in a pissy mood because the customers are in a pissy mood.
If you had to deal with everybody that was coming at you for 8 hours and you happen to catch them in the last hour, because if you got to deal with that many grumpy people, well, grumpiness inspires grumpiness.
It's contagious.
Yes, it is.
And that's
Ask my cousin.
That's kind of like the common thing you will see in the United States. In Mexico, there will be lines at a customer service desk for things, but people don't seem to be angry.
Nope.
It's kind of like, okay, I'm in this line and it's okay because I don't really have anything else I really have to do.
And the other thing is you don't see them sitting there doing
what's going on? What's taking so long?
How much longer is this going to,
So the customers are in a better mood, which I think means this customer service person is in a better mood.
Well, could it just be that Mexicans on a whole are in a better mood?
Just in a better mood. But some of the nuances of what happens at a customer service desk is vastly different than what it is in the United States. For example, if you buy something in almost any store in the United States and you don't like the color, the size, you got it for a wedding gift and you don't want it, whatever it is, you can typically take it back to customer service where it was purchased. And sometimes with a receipt, sometimes without a receipt. Even sometimes with a receipt, even if it's not the exact same store, it may be a different branch, but you can typically take it back and return it. And they will mark that off as part of their shrinkage.
Well, if it's something that can't be put back on the shelf. Right.
And that's what they do. Not in Mexico. No. Make sure you want it. Because when you buy it, you bought it. It's yours.
And if you break it, you bought it. I found that out in where were we, Oaxaca?
We're not quite there yet. So
okay.
We're getting there though. It's coming real close. Because like in Mexico, they will tell you at the customer service desk that you will need to do the return with the manufacturer most of the time. So, let's say you bought a TV and you don't want the TV. And maybe the TV works. Maybe it doesn't work. You're not going to be able to take it back to Walmart or Costco or Sam's or wherever.
It's now an issue between you and the company.
Yeah. And then there's also the break it, you bought it. Which in the U.S., if you broke it, it's part of their shrinkage. They write it off.
If you pull, you reach for a bottle of something on a grocery store shelf and it happens to catch on something else and that bottle comes down and breaks, clean up on aisle 7, they come clean it up and they just write that off.
In the U.S.
Here, well, I hope you like that because, you're going to pay for it.
Probably bought it. And not just the customer. If an employee breaks something, they probably bought it as well. I haven't heard otherwise to the contrary yet.
And I mean, was that Oaxaca? Yeah, that was Oaxaca.
It was Oaxaca.
And I happened to, we were walking out from having lunch and cut the corner a little too tight and knocked a box of candy off, and we bought all the broken candy.
And she was annoyed.
Yeah.
She was annoyed. You could hear the tone in her voice, and she was counting each one out loud.
Trace.
I'm like, and he didn't know what to expect, and I'm like, honey, just ask her how much. Just ask her how much. And then we got all the broken pieces and took them home with us.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of like, that's the customer service counter, I would say. They've always been very friendly and very helpful, but when it comes to you returning things, don't expect it. And if you broke it, you bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much, what else was there?
That's about it.
I think that is. Let's catch up with some questions or comments before I jump to the next one, because I'm on 110 mile an hour today. I need to slow down.
Wrong way.
I know. I'm looking. I'm trying to get
Spy
caught up.
away with them.
I'm trying to get caught up. And here we go. Gracias, Romy. So Lisa is working on stuff now. Oh, about the medical, I bet. That would be really awesome, Terry. Un besote a los dos. A los dos. What's that? Besote.
Something at 2.
Un besote. I'm not sure I know the word besote, Romy. At 2. Yes. And we are fortunate we have an amazing property manager that, and I know there's another part of it, here it goes, that gets things done.
Yeah. I mean, and that's half the battle. I mean, if you live, Romy can testify this because God knows Romy knows everybody. If you have a network of people that you can count on and depend upon, then those people you can count and you're going to get things done. If you are one of those that are doing, just getting started in a new area, finding that Rolodex to build of who do I call for this, who do I call for that, that's going to give you the type of service that you're looking for. That's the whole.
And no, Romy, I don't think Lisa and you do this. And I think there's 2 reasons for it. First, you're both pretty awesome people anyway, and you bend over backwards to help anybody.
True.
All the time. And 2, you're dealing with a bunch of people who come from countries who have this expectation of the customer's always right attitude.
Well, they have that in entitlement feeling.
They do.
No.
So, no, I don't believe you do that at all.
God, no. I mean, that was our first introduction into how, the Mexican way of doing things was different, was encountering with Lisa and Romy, and it was just like, oh,
yep,
wow, thank you,
Yeah, it was nice. Oh, decent scotch. How much is decent scotch?
Well, that all depends upon what we consider a decent scotch. And my father being a scotch drinker, he was Chivas Regal. That to him, that was, that's all he drank. And, try to give him Johnny Walker or something like that. He'd look at you and go, no. A bottle, a 5th of Chivas down here runs, I think I just saw that the other day, 1,200 pesos, about $60, which is probably the equivalent of about what it probably runs in the States. I think last time I mean, he died in 2015, so it's been a long time since I bought a bottle of scotch. I think I remember when we go shopping with him, it'd be 45 to $50 a bottle. So I imagine in 10 years, it's probably gone up $10. So probably very equivalent. Sometimes you can get some of the deals beyond. I've seen pretty good prices on some Blue Label, Johnny Walker, and so it's like, which if I remember right, I think it was black, red, then the blue was the highest.
Yeah.
I'm not a Scotch guy. Talk about vodka, I can help you. But
I bet Arlene could tell us. I bet Arlene could tell us what a good scotch is costing here. Maybe. I don't know. So we're fortunate that we have property mail. We did this one already. So sorry, I'm bouncing. Okay, here we go. We sent a text last night that our water pump may be malfunctioning. The plumber was here at 10 a.m. today. That's awesome.
Can't argue with that.
That's awesome. And these, of course, you guys realize these are generalizations.
Yeah.
There's definitely people who go out of their way to provide really good service.
And then you also have the companies that emanate from the U.S. and so their policies that are in the U.S. they instill down here. Walmart, Sam's, Costco, their return policies are similar to what they are in the U.S. We're going to read the next comment.
Sometimes, right? Unless you go to Walmart or Sam's.
Yeah. I mean, that's just because, corporate policy is what corporate policy is. And they're up there in Bentonville going, no, we take it back.
And so, and her example here was broke a bottle of water and they let her get another one for free. So, I mean, and that was very nice that they did that. But if it's a Mexican company, chances are you're probably paying for it. And I know that I definitely heard some employees say that when they break something, they have to pay for it too. But he's probably right when it comes to those companies that are U.S. based. Maybe they have their policy blanket internationally. And Jenny, boy, you got hosed here. Got home, ripped volleyball at the seam, and they wouldn't let you return it. And they said you tore it. Why would they say you tore it? Like, why would somebody tear a volleyball and then try to bring it back?
Lack of things to do. I mean, that's just,
That doesn't make any sense. But watermelon. Oh, watermelon, not water. Okay, I thought it was a bottle of water. So the watermelon broke. Okay. But, the question comes, though, if it's something like a glass bottle of something, honey, olives, would they make you pay for it? I don't know.
Oh, I mean,
there's a
again,
chance.
and again, I think it probably is going to be very dependent upon, is this occurring in a Chedraui or is it occurring in an HEB?
Right.
Because I bet the two of them have different return policies. One is a Mexican company, one is an American company. So.
Oh, yeah. And we've got some interesting stories about customer service at HEB. All right. And right through Mexico. Hola. Thanks for coming. There you go. And Home Depot, another U.S. store.
Yep.
Let us return some things. So maybe it's because they're American stores. Could very well be.
And it's easier if you think about it from a corporate standpoint. You go, you know what? This is policy. And, you may have district managers down here in Mexico going, we're losing money. We don't need to.
Right.
But corporate's going, we're not going to start writing policies for different countries because then people are going to get confused. And it's a whole lot easier to write one and just go.
Could be. Yes. And, okay. Besote is a huge kiss. I knew a beso, but besote, huge kiss.
Yeah.
That's a smacker. And then Jenny, on the contrary, the office where I pay my property taxes was great when I was given the wrong account number and hadn't technically been paying for my taxes
No.
for 3 years. Holy moly. So where was you were given the wrong account number?
You're paying somebody
Were
else's
you paying
taxes.
somebody else's taxes? Yeah.
You know, and the worst part about that is, you imagine what that would be in the U.S. You wouldn't get away with that.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's crazy. We're moving. I'm really going to miss our go-to guy for all repairs here in Merida. He's awesome. Always on time. Honest. Gives you the expensive version. Or they can do it for this. That's nice. That's nice. Control the expectations.
Yeah.
Because if it's better than what you promised, they will love you. Yeah. Smart man.
It's always better to underpromise and overperform.
For sure. And Mark, people with type A can find Mexico difficult with no-show appointments, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the hard part is just learning to turn the dial down. I mean, that's, that's the whole thing is one of those where you just have to go, you know what? Roll with it. Because that's what's going to happen. Because otherwise, you're going to find yourself doing the whole, oh, God.
You say that and it comes to mind. Anybody here who's ever watched the movie Up in Smoke? When Stacy Keach is in basically a toga at the end of the movie, and the van that's been manufactured out of marijuana is burning, and there is like weed in the air all over. All the undercover police are stoned and they're eating. And Stacy Keach is type A. He's like psyching out. And they're like, man, just go with the flow.
Sergeant Stajowski or
yeah, Stadenko.
Stadenko.
Yes, that's what that reminded me of. Just go with the flow.
Yeah. Because I was type A, and I still am type A, but it's just got to turn the dial down and go. It's not. I can either drive myself nuts, or I can change.
Hola, Jetta. Thank you for coming tonight. Here we go. Maximo, I have a somewhat unrelated question, but how is the water service in Querétaro? Are there water shortages and interruptions, or in some areas or citywide? I have heard that some neighborhoods do.
Well, we know.
Well, this is independent of their situation. These are well-established, old, primarily local neighborhoods that do report at times having water issues. I don't know if they just turn their water off. And I don't know if it's just because they think they can get away with it because it is predominantly lower income residents, nationals, old neighborhoods. Don't know.
And quite honestly, if you have a Tinaco, I don't get the whole thing, because if you fill your Tinaco, then they turn it off for 3 hours. Well, odds are you're not going to drain your Tinaco.
I mean, it's off for days, though.
Well, I get that some places, it only goes off for 6 hours. Well, if you got Tinaco, you never even hardly know that it's off. So
now, so Annie and Arlene, they live in a fraccionamiento that's not really incorporated yet. So they don't even get a water bill. And because they don't get a water bill, their water isn't on all day. But they have 2 Tinacos. So when the water is on, the Tinacos are filling up. So they aren't really running out of water.
Yeah. I mean, here I will say, in this particular Airbnb, the higher up you go, the less water pressure you get.
Yeah, because it's gravity.
I know it's gravity.
Yeah.
And like taking, she uses a shower on the 2nd level. I use a shower on the 3rd level. And it's like,
it trickles.
Come on, you
when
can do it.
Brush our teeth at night, the water just trickles up there. 2nd floor isn't so bad. Downstairs is fine.
Yeah.
The thing about the water, I'll also say, is it's very hard water. Very hard water. It calcifies. It leaves water stains. You have to use vinegar to clean out your coffee pots, clean out,
Well,
the watermarks off the shower doors and things like that.
especially this time of year
Yeah,
when the reservoirs are starting to go down
yeah,
because the rainy season hasn't started to fill them back up yet. And so what you're getting is the greater concentration of the minerals because you don't have as much water to dilute it.
Yep.
So the water, as it goes down, therefore gets harder.
you know, and by all rights, I should be using bottled water in my essential oil diffuser, and I don't. I'm lazy. So I'll just fill it up with regular tap water. Well, by the end of the week, it isn't even doing anything anymore because the calcification is built up on the ultrasonic plate. So I got to go dump what's in there, clean it all out with vinegar, dissolve all that so that I can get it to work again. But as far as shortages go, we haven't experienced a shortage here.
No.
We don't use a lot of water, obviously, because our landlord, for the moment, he doesn't charge us utilities unless they go over a certain threshold.
Other than gas, we're responsible for
we
gas.
pay gas, but
Yeah.
we don't pay the electric or the water unless we go over the established threshold that he has, and we haven't gone over that yet.
Then we even asked, and he was like, "No,
Yeah.
no."
So I don't even. I mean, if the water gets turned off, I don't know how we would even know because our water's coming from the Tinaco, and the Tinaco is what's holding the.
And we
excess.
have never had a day when we've even come close to draining a full Tanaka.
No.
So
No.
if it is, it's days like Friday when Huerte comes to clean and she washes everything in the wash machine.
Oh my gosh, she washes everything.
So those are the days that the most water gets used. So
Okay, and then here's the answer for the Scotch. She goes for the cheapest. Black label,
Yeah.
12 to 1,300 pesos.
yeah, it's about what I figured. I mean, Chivas, I think, is running the same price. So
And a new video idea. Oh no. Go around and break stuff and see if they make you pay. I really don't want to do that.
nah.
And they're going to have us on camera and they're going to see all these intentional breakages. We'll definitely have to pay.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, then they'll accuse us of ripping the seam on the volleyball. You know.
Yeah, I know. Hey, meow. I love it. I have my appointment with the Raleigh consulate. Did you get your bank statements notarized by USPS? I mean, you can. Honestly, all they want is a signature on it.
That was their suggestion while I'm sitting there in their bank that we've been customers of for
Bank of America
over 20 years and had them notarize all sorts of stuff. And they would not notarize their own bank statement. And they're like, we can put a teller stamp on it. Okay. I don't need you to notarize it. I just need you to sign it. No, can't sign it. But you can go down to the UPS store and they'll be more than happy to notarize it. I'm like, why would I pay to have something notarized when you guys notarize my stuff for free?
Well, it was, if Bank of America offers notary service to their own customers, why would they not notarize their own documents?
That they printed.
Right. But Raleigh may be different than Kansas City. I don't know about it being notarized. I know that what Kansas City wanted was a signature on each statement.
A signature.
They wanted a signature. They wanted the statements signed.
Now,
they didn't say by who.
Now, just keep this in mind. At no time do they ask us which Bank of America did we go to so they could verify that that particular person who signed those documents even worked at that or in their world even existed.
She looked at me and she winked and she goes, how did you got them signed? And I said, yes. She goes, what did you do? I said, I cried.
That way she didn't lie.
I cried. That's all I said.
Yep.
Because we couldn't get anyone in the bank to sign it. But the truth is, in Kansas City, the security guard could have signed them and it would have been fine. And there was another couple in there. They were there for the exact same reason, a follow-up appointment. They had to go get a CPA to sign theirs.
They went to their tax preparer and their tax preparer put his signature on there. And, you know.
So if
in the Kansas City market, at the consulate there, at that particular time, all they wanted was them to be signed.
Now, if Raleigh is specifically saying that they want them notarized, then USPS should be fine.
UPS.
Well,
I know,
it
but I don't
says
know.
USPS.
I don't know if the U.S. Postal Service does notaries, but I know the UPS
I don't
does.
know. UPS, FedEx, whatever notary lives down the street, a CPA, anybody with a notary stamp, if that's all they're asking for is that they're notarized, yeah, that's really all you would need, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be good. Suzanne, you just got here. We started at 5 Central Mexican time, and we kept the time for 6 Central in the U.S. because of the time zone changes, and it just kind of whacks us up.
So the people who don't change their clocks were the ones that got affected versus the people in the U.S. who changed their clocks.
Oh, she was paying the previous owners.
Oh.
Well, hold up now. They don't own it anymore, so the money had to be going somewhere.
Well, they probably start a new account with a new owner.
Yeah. Okay. Like a bull in a china shop. That's right. And oh, thank you, Suzanne. We're trying. We're trying to be healthy and happy. And Arlene, I'm type A, but I've gotten a bit more patient since being here. You almost have to, because the type A person will make themselves just crazy and miserable if they can't learn to just slow down a little bit and adjust.
I'm just looking to see if Annie Bette's agreeing with Arlene on the.
I want to know how Arlene's breaking watermelons in the store. Yes. It's a Hulk smash maneuver. And you know what? It might be. Who was that?
Carrot Top.
No, not Carrot Top. There was a guy in the 70s and 80s with the sledgehammer.
In the striped shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now, but I can see him. He reminded me a lot at the time of David Crosby. He looked a lot like him before he got really overweight. He looked like a thinner David Crosby.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It wasn't great.
Well, no, we have not talked about party weekend yet, but we will. And yes, BOA does suck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting with their customer service manager who does the notary and everything else at this one branch. And she had the audacity to sit there, and after she gets them all stamped, she printed them. So they're own, because she's like, we can only print them, we can only stamp them if we print them. Fine, print them. So she prints them, gets them all stamped. I said, can you sign them? No, I cannot sign them. You know, that's what she said. You can go to the UPS store and get them signed. And she goes, the stamp will be adequate. And if not, she staples her business card to the top one and goes, have the consulate call me. And I'm going, you arrogant bitch. You really think that you can tell another country's consulate how to run their business? And almost wanted to go back down there.
Think about how much extra time all of that would have taken too, when all they had to do was sign it.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yep.
And hey, hola Gringismo.
Gallagher.
It was Gallagher. Guys, you guys popped up. You came to the rescue. Jesse and Landon and Ride Through and Rick. Everybody knows it's Gallagher. Oscar. Suzanne. Oh, he passed away at the age of 76. Huh. Wow. I used to like him. I didn't watch him a lot, but, you know, he was different. It's just
he was definitely not one you wanted to be in the first 2 or 3 rows.
No. People used to wear little rain slickers.
I know.
They looked like the people on the Maid of the Mist. I remember that. All right, let's get on to the next grouping here. We've got 2 more. So, speaking of customer service, let's talk about retail floor employees. These could be the people who are stocking the grocery shelves, working the floor in the pharmacy.
The people in suburbia that are hanging stuff out on the shelf, on the racks and everything.
Like in the United States, not always. This is also going to vary from store to store as well. If you shopped at the more expensive grocery stores like
Harris Teeter,
Hy-Vee, things like that, their floor employees are almost trained, Publix, to greet you, say good morning, good afternoon, hello, how are you doing today? Are you finding everything okay? They do that proactively. Now, that's not normal in most stores, even in the US, we know.
If you ask them where something is, they don't just tell you it's on aisle 8. They escort you to aisle 8 and show you exactly where it is on that particular aisle, so that you're not doing the.
There's a psychology to that. When I moved to the Charlotte area, I was in walking distance to a Harris Teeter, and it was right across from where I worked, and I was living very close to where I worked. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to Harris Teeter. And I got in there, and I'm like, wow, this place is pretty expensive. But, oh, good morning. How are you today? Are you finding everything okay? I said, what?
It wasn't Giant Eagle.
It wasn't Giant Eagle. No, it wasn't. And I was just like, I really don't mind shopping here and paying a little extra if that's the kind of service I'm getting. Well, in the US, even that's not normal.
No.
You go to Walmart and people are stocking stuff. What? I mean, it's a mess. You ask somebody if they could tell you if they have any more of this, and they're going to tell you all of our stock is out on the floor. Like, they don't even go look. And that's bullshit.
Now the biggest problem with going to Walmart is all those people pushing them damn blue totes that are doing shopping for others. And it's like, it was bad enough when you had to get around the people who were stocking the shelves, but now you got to deal with all the people who are shopping for those who are sitting at home.
Yeah.
And it's like, they don't think that they work for you, because they sort of think that, well, you know what, I'm doing something for somebody else, another customer, so I'm already engaged with another customer.
Yeah.
Even though all I'm doing is looking at their order, and whether I'm 5 minutes late or not because you asked me a question,
So
don't get me started.
Customer service in the US can be at both ends of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
It can be really crappy or really, really good. But almost always, it seems like they try to cause the least amount of inconvenience during store hours for their customers.
Yeah, I mean,
if they have
they're cognizant of the customers.
If it means pulling the pallets out at 4 o'clock in the morning, or pulling the pallets out at 10 or 11 o'clock at night,
or stepping back when you're stocking something and somebody comes up,
somebody's
see them
coming up.
They'll step back and let you get what you want, and then they'll return the stocking, or things like that. And down here, they're working.
Nope, they're working.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stock at night. They don't stock early in the morning. They work during the day, like most people normally do work during the day, and they're there to work. And you're now, in theory, you're in their way. You're keeping them from getting their job done.
No, they're not rude. I mean, if you ask them for something, because if they happen to be working on a shelf and you go, I want can I get this? Most of them,
they'll help you. You got to ask them.
Yeah,
they don't just volunteer. You have to proactively ask them.
Well, that's because they're concentrating on what they're working.
They're working on their job,
and they work.
And they're working hard most of the time. And so that was a big adjustment for me. I've said this in the past, that I found that really annoying, that if I go shopping, I can't get to stuff because I got to reach over bodies.
Well, and the other thing that we have found is that every store has a sweet spot of when to go.
Yeah.
And so, the HEB here, if we go between 3:30 and 4:30, that's
most of them are done for the day.
Most of them are either done for the day, or the people who've done the morning and afternoon have stopped, and the people who may be coming in for an evening shift are not there yet, and we can get boom, 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 and we're out of there. So.
And I'm going to remain true in saying that if you ask for help proactively, they will give it to you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
One time they were doing a store reset, And ranch salad dressing is really easy to find in Mexico.
And they had removed all
And
the salad dressing.
blue cheese tends to be hard to find in Mexico. So I'm looking for ranch dressing. I've got to make something. I don't know what. And they've got it all pulled. And so they've got some stuff in carts and not. And I'm looking around. And finally, I just asked the young man if they had ranch. And he left his job that he was doing. And he was gone for like 10 minutes. And he went looking for a bottle of ranch.
So he went to the area where they were going to do the reset to see if, because sometimes when they do resets, they'll move a bottle or two just to show people, okay, yeah, this is where it's going to go. And then he went to the back room to see if they had, they pushed some back there.
So what's he come back with?
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese. And normally I would have been excited about that because blue cheese is hard to find and I do like it. But no, I needed the ranch for a recipe or something. And we ended up buying ingredients to just make our own ranch. But it's not that they don't want to help. You just have to be more proactive.
Yep.
It's not that they jump up and volunteer or move out of your way. No, they're there to work.
And they work.
And they work.
Yep.
You need help, you have to ask for it. I think it's about it on that subject. Let's go back to chat real quick, and then we'll hit our last topic, and then we'll just shoot the breeze.
Well, we got party to talk about too.
We do.
I know.
He had the Sledge-O-Matic. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
New from Ronco.
Had the same problem with Chase Bank.
Chase
is not Bank of America. A lot of the banks will not sign their documents. Somebody mailed a letter and requested the letter be signed, and it was just a typed letter, no signature, returned to them. They just won't do it.
Yeah, and we heard on more than one occasion from BOA employees that their legal department would not allow them to sign their own documents.
I don't know.
And I'm looking, and I want to go, you're not inspiring a whole lot of faith in me right now.
No.
That you can't even sign and validate your own statements.
Yeah, I don't get it.
What are you doing?
And Jeannie, I love your setup. Well, Shania, what are you talking about? Are you talking about my beautiful Yeti mic? Are we talking about the kitchen behind us?
Wow.
Are we talking about this prop beside me?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump here. Okay. Arlene, I was at the self-checkout counter while trying to pick up the watermelon. It was wet, so it slipped. Oh, man. That's a whole lot of mess. At Maynard's? Is that how you say that? Maynard's? Maynard's? Like Maters? If you start looking like you need help, they all vanish. Yeah. It's at both ends of the spectrum, really, really wide spectrum in the U.S. It's all or nothing, it seems like. But there's some psychology to the pamper and baby and love your customer, and they will come back.
And that worked for you, and then all of a sudden they became one of the only ones in the Charlotte metro area that were doing triple coupons. And then it was like,
oh, the
Harris
Teeter.
Yeah, now.
Oh yeah, see, because I used to super coupon. So the trick to super couponing is you wait until they have super triple coupons or super double coupons or whatever the heck it was, where they will double them like up to $1 or $1.50, whatever it was, and it's also on sale that week. So I used to go and buy groceries sometimes, and if it took me going to 5 Harris Teeters to find them, even, because sometimes stuff would get sold out real fast because people were like, oh yeah, coupons and it's on sale. If it took me to go to 5 stores, I would end up spending maybe $500 in groceries and spending less than $50. It was that good. And we were stocked. We were so stocked that when it came time to move, we had stuff that we hadn't even used and had to just get rid of. So those coupons, man. I'm late. Your hair is so cute. Thank you, Anna. All right, last topic on customer service. Last one. This one's actually a good one.
And this is, we're going to relay what happened, because this is what prompted us to actually pick this topic. Is when I went and Lisa and Romy got me an appointment with a dentist, and so while I was there, I set an appointment up for her, and because she can only go on a Saturday, so I said, when's the next Saturday appointment you have? And so we got it all set up and everything else, and so we show up, on March 13th at 10 o'clock, I think it was the time, and they're like, she had a family emergency. The dentist, the doctor did. One of her assistants said that, and she's not going to be able to make it in today. And said that she would call and schedule another appointment.
Yeah.
And so, okay, hey,
okay, so
shit happens. I mean, that no big deal.
So we left
and didn't hear anything. And so finally, I was like, I'm going over. And it's not like it's a huge drive. It's 15 minutes max. And so, I just got up one morning, waited for them to open, drove over there, sat down, and they're like, ¿Tienes una cita? No. Necesito una cita. And then fortunately they speak English there very well. And, got through that. And she was like, oh yeah, I remember that, and so they got her set up for an appointment. So, okay, boom. And this time we get there and she's the only one there. The dentist is, and it happened to be that it was this past weekend. It was Easter weekend.
Yeah.
So, she only has a couple. I think she may have one other dentist and one or two other people. And I guess max of 4 people in this office.
And not always at the same time.
Not always at the same time. No. And so, she takes care of Gina, gets her, goes through, does the appointment.
Let me explain what she did first. She did a full mouth photographic scan of all my teeth. She did an x-ray of a root canal and a crown that I have. She did polishing, fluoride treatment, an exam. And I do have to go back. I have one cavity in 3 years.
And the initial consult of,
right.
Boom, which, and she's doing all of this herself.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, well, don't worry. We got those little ones. They don't look to be anything major to think about. We only got the one we need to worry about, and so let's look at coming back in
it was
2 weeks, whatever, 2-3 weeks. And Gina's like, yeah, that works.
Okay.
And so how much do I owe you?
Nothing. I'm like, what do you mean nothing? Well, she didn't want to charge me because she felt bad about not being there for the last appointment and not giving me notification that she had to cancel. So this appointment was free. And I insisted on paying her, and she would not take the money.
And she insisted, no, we weren't going to pay. And she went, no, you'll pay next time, when she does the filling. But no,
She didn't want to take the money. And a couple people told me that's the Mexican way. She felt bad because she left me out hanging without an appointment. So she did all that work that day for nothing. Please tell me any dentist in the United States that would have done that.
They'll charge you if you're 15 minutes late. I know some dentists that do that because you put them behind and their time is so valuable. Of course, your ass can sit in the waiting room for an hour if they're running behind. And
Yeah, well,
and I'm excuse me, where's my money? Because my money's
I
is
know.
valuable. My time is valuable.
let me shed a little bit of light on that from an office scheduling perspective. Hospitals have a ridiculous expectation on their group provider offices that the groups must have appointment blocks. This type of appointment is a 15-minute appointment. This type of appointment is a 30-minute appointment, etc. That's why you have sick visits, well checks. They all get different categories, and each of those visits has a different allotment of time that's assigned for that appointment. So the doctor gets their schedule filled for the day. Let's say your appointment was just a sick visit, typically about a 15-minute appointment, and you show up 15 minutes late. Well, that appointment nobody got seen, and that was time lost that could have been given to someone else. Therefore, they want to charge you. Now, this is what happens, though. This is why you have people sitting in a waiting room for an hour, 2 hours, whatever. It could be the doctor's on call and had to go do something. It might have been an emergency. But it's also that sick visit appointment that someone else had that took 15 minutes, maybe it took 20. And then the next patient came in for their well check, a 30-minute appointment. Well, that took 45. So now they're behind how many minutes already? And by the time you show up, they're halfway through their day and they're already 90 minutes behind on everybody. And that's how that works. And
yeah, but it still doesn't rectify.
No.
They want to charge you, but they're not willing to compensate you if that our time's valuable, yours isn't. And to me, that
No, I know.
no.
But often what ends up happening is those doctors end up staying way later than they were supposed to, so they could get all the patients out the door. And
yeah, but the whole mindset of our time's valuable and yours isn't
I know.
does not sit
But
well.
for sure, you wouldn't get a free appointment. You're not going to get a free appointment.
But I mean, but other instances, the one we went to in Watuco when you had the cyst.
I had to have a cyst, and I messaged them on WhatsApp. See, that's another thing. You are in direct contact most of the time with these providers. It's like you're not going through a receptionist, a middle person. You're like, so I'm sending a WhatsApp message, and I'm like, I think I have this cyst. I would like to schedule an appointment. Do you deal with these? And he's like, yeah, can you come at this time? And it was like, oh, well, I have a class coming up. Can I come after that? Yeah, can you come after that? I mean, same day appointment. He could have seen me in 10 minutes, or he saw me later that afternoon. Either way, it was immediate. And then I get there, and we didn't have the full amount of money to pay him. And he's like, yeah, you can give me the rest of it when you come back in 2 days. Like, okay.
And again, it would no receptionist, no nothing. It was just him, us, boom. Let's get this taken care of. And just like Terry said, he has the personal phone number of his surgeon. Something goes wrong.
Yep.
They take it personally and everything else. And so, going to get labs done. Last time we did labs, it was, we walked over, we made the appointment, walked over, got our specimen cups that we needed and gave the blood necessary and everything else. And we had no sooner hardly got home from the walk, and an hour later we're getting an email with the results.
The results were back in about 2 hours from the time it was collected.
And then
no doctor prescriptions or orders needed. Just walked in and get it done.
And then had to walk back the next morning with our fresh specimens and
freshly squeezed squeezed kidney juice.
Yes, and but again, it was one young lady there running the counter, drawing the blood, doing all of that. Pleasant as could be, quick, efficient,
And that's just it. These offices, they're running most of the time without any support staff. If they have support staff, it might be one person, maybe two at the most, but it's often just the provider. And, they give you their phone number. You have direct contact with them. There's no middlemen, insurance companies, all this other stuff to go through. And the care is typically very exceptional,
and
efficient.
You don't have 3 insurance specialists running around behind the counter, pulling files and this and that and everything else, and going, "Oh, I need a copy of your insurance card because I got to make sure that front and back." And oh, that's right, give me your ID as well, so that I've got all your information. So that if there's a question with the insurance company, we can get paid. And no,
I mean, I would say from a customer service perspective with regard to medical, it's very one-on-one.
Well, and I think the in Tuxtla, they had that like co-op where we went up there when you got the cash removed.
Yeah, there was
and then there was like a receptionist, and there was like 3 or 4 different offices.
Mm-hmm.
And we checked in and told her who we were there to see, and have a seat. And he came out, and the only other thing we did with her was pay her, and then I had to hike down the OXXO to break.
Yeah,
because
some money.
they didn't have any change.
No.
And speaking of that, customer service. We're in Watuco.
Oh yeah.
There's a little, tienda right around the corner where I would walk over and get a bottle or 2 of Coke. And one afternoon, and you can never tell when they were going to be open. Again, I think it was one kid that basically was running it for the family, and he was going to school. So, he would be there mid-morning to lunch, then they'd be closed, and then late afternoon they may be open again. And so I walk over late one afternoon going, I'm just going to grab a couple bottles of Coke and put them up on the counter, and I had my wallet, but the smallest bill I had was 500. Tarjeta? No tiene Wi-Fi. Ahora, their Wi-Fi was down. Okay. And so I'd take out a 500. No tango cambio.
Yeah, that's a lot for a couple.
Yeah, no, I get that. I was spending 100 pesos, and the smallest I had was 500 peso bill, and so I pick them up and start put them back in the cooler, and he goes, "No, told me take them home and come back, later and pay them."
Yeah. No.
No, it's not like we've lived in this neighborhood
No.
for years, and Jose knows that I'm Marco, and Marco's good, no problem, da 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 da. No, I'm some gringo, and just
I mean, he knew how to find us if he had to.
He knew we were close, and I had been in there, 3 or 4 times before, so it wasn't like it was my first time in there. But still, I'm sitting here going, there is no way I walk into a Quick Trip, a Wawa, 7-Eleven, Sheets, whatever.
No matter how many times you've been there.
And go, what do you mean you don't have change for this?
I'll come back
and pay you later. Here, I'm just going to take these home.
Gladly pay you Tuesday
for a hamburger today.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess if you lived in a neighborhood and you had a corner bodega and you were in there every day, you've lived there for years and people know you, maybe in the U.S. that could happen, but it's unlikely. Or if you live in a small town,
where everybody knows everybody.
It's unlikely that would happen otherwise in the U.S. I was just kind of, and I've seen before, there's places like taquerias and stuff where you're on the honor system with paying for your stuff when you're done eating. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So that's customer service. That rums it up. Customer service here is type A people will have to really adjust because things move at a slower pace, and the expectations are a little bit different about what good customer service is. But the people here are super friendly. And if you proactively ask for help, you will get it.
Yeah. And you'll get it with a smile.
And then you'll get the crazy stuff like, oh, I feel bad about that last appointment, so today's appointment's for free. I mean, what would that have cost me in the United States?
And I mean, it was 1,600 pesos was what the bill would have been because I paid it for mine. And you're sitting there going, okay, still, if she just said, medio, half, we'd still been going, no, it wasn't that big of an inconvenience. But no, nada, nada.
And there you go. So there, we're gonna drop the customer service. Please do add your comments if you have additional stories to share.
Yep.
I'm sure that everyone's got their own unique experiences here. So,
Andrew, what I recommend doing is find a independent tax preparer.
what bank should I plan on using?
For whenever, let's say you're going to get the appointment in 2026. Find an independent tax preparer and then explain what you're doing and go, can you sign my statements?
I mean, is that what this question's about, or is it?
I think it's
or is this just
make
about
things easier. I mean,
an easier bank to work with in Mexico would be Charles Schwab. For sure.
Yeah, but if you're talking about getting down here, that's my recommendation because so far Chase and BOA, all of them have had a problem with doing that. And it seems like if you find somebody, as a tax preparer or, plays one on TV,
Yeah. Years ago when I was at the Mexican consulate, Wells Fargo had a table advertising. I have just had to pay $1,500 for a crown here in Florida. How much did your crown cost? The crown that I have is from my dentist in Asheville, North Carolina. And I don't remember exactly, but even with dental insurance, major restorative work is paid only at 50%. So it probably cost me close to $800 or $900 minimum. And I have a gold post. There was a reason for the gold post. I can't remember right now, but it had to do with the fact that this crown was a replacement for a previous crown and previous root canal gone bad. The root canal that I had from a dentist 2 dentists ago had become abscessed at the root. And this last dentist that I had in the United States had to remove that crown, remove that post, clean out the infection, and put a new one in. And so there was a whole lot of extra work done, and it was an expensive one to do, for sure.
Do you want a 30-second answer to this?
What they're asking.
I know. Anna, in 2 weeks, I'll be able to tell you what an implant's going to cost me because I'm getting the outline of what my dental work's going to cost, and they're doing an implant. So I'll be able to give you a real good breakdown cost-wise because I'm getting the whole.
Yeah, but that's not a crown.
I understand that, but I can at least be in a ballpark as to what it's going to cost down here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance.
I can tell you what the crown, what we know what the implant costs us in the U.S. And so let's say it's 30%. Well, okay, if it's the same.
The reason I had to get my crown x-rayed is that same crown that had to be removed, reposted because it had an infection. Well, it still technically has an infection. It's like the infection never totally went away. And when you have an infection in the root that high and it gets out of hand, it can cause bone degradation. And I could see from the x-ray that there's a little pocket there where there is potential, issues with possible bone degradation. So I will probably have to get the crown taken off, cleaned out, and have a whole new one done. I don't know. We'll see.
She's not worried about it right now.
She's not worried about it right now. She's like, well, we're keeping an eye on it, but
But remind me in 2 weeks and I can give you an idea, of what the cost of mine versus what it was cost in the U.S. So
yeah, that'll be interesting.
Because we're talking
thousands.
Well, I know that, but we're talking the same number of extractions and the same number of implants. So It's exact. Basically, all they're doing is the same thing they did on one side. They're going to do on the other side. This side was in the U.S., so now we'll find out what the Mexicans going to
It
cost.
was over $3,000 for one implant in the United States. It was like the cost of a vacation for two.
That was not including the graft.
No, just the implant.
I know.
$3,000.
That ended up almost being about $8,000 by the time we were done.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And I put off a lot of my dental care just so we could get his done because he needed it badly.
And we only got halfway through.
Alfredo.
Hola,
Alfredo.
And Wilfredo.
Hope you're having a wonderful week. Oh, well, Wilfredo, work on Monday was rough, and it felt like Friday by the end of the day. And I'm on call this week, but we'll get through it. I'm just really tired. And Bruno, hola, Bruno. We want to get blood work next. We are in Mexico. Never had it done before. I must watch your video to know what to ask for. Okay, so these labs are like independently run labs.
Laboratorio Médicos.
Yes, and they're all kind of different, and
they're all independent.
They're all independent. They all offer their own price lists for things. They offer their own group panels. The one we went into was offering a special. They actually had a website, and I went to the website and saw the special, and we basically got what I would consider to be the Rotary Club special. I don't know if you guys have ever gone to Rotary clubs will have a wellness day, a healthy day thing where tons of people will come in to get their labs drawn because they get a discount to get them done on the road, and the Rotary sponsors it. It was kind of like that. I looked at this and went, oh, it's a Rotary special. We're going to get a Chem 25, a CBC, iron, lipids, urinalysis, all this stuff. And it was like $60, $65 a person total. I know how much labs cost in the U.S. I worked in the lab for over 25 years. The CBC alone would have been about $300.
There is a lab that is by our dentist, which I saw on the way in, and there are 2 days a week that they offer 50% off.
Nice. I mean, that's huge.
I mean, if it was going to be 1,300 pesos a piece, $65 for one of us. Mm-hmm. Well, we could have walked. We walk in there on those particular days, and it's $1,300 for both of us. So and we are about due to have that done.
Oh, we're past due. We're past due. I would recommend for an annual physical type lab work type thing, I would ask to get the biggest chemistry panel they have. I don't know if they run a Chem 25, a Chem 18, or a comprehensive metabolic panel. Just look for chemistries. They typically just call them chemistries. And look for the biggest panel they have. Make sure that it's got lipids. Make sure that it's got, I would say liver enzymes, but I don't want to confuse anybody. Just make sure that it's the biggest chemistry panel with the most number of tests in it.
At the prices they are down here, just walk in and ask for the Cadillac version.
I mean, it's going to have
it's cheap, and you just go, I want the most everything. Give me results.
It's probably going to have a thyroid test, a TSH. It's probably going to have iron. It's probably going to have your cholesterol, triglycerides, HDL, LDL, and it'll have all the different liver enzymes. So it's going to have amylase, those are actually pancreatic, but amylase and lipase. It's going to have AST, ALT, GGT. I mean, just all that stuff. Kidney function tests. Mm-hmm. It's going to have phosphorus. It's going to have creatinine, BUN.
It is more extensive. I mean, the ones we had done in Progressive were more extensive than what, not expensive, extensive than what I would get from my PSA.
Oh yeah.
In the U.S.
For men, I would recommend you also add a PSA, prostate-specific antigen test. For women, they don't mandate this, but I think it's a good idea. I would ask for a CA-125 that detects early ovarian cancer. PSAs are pretty much standard run of the mill for men after a
Yep.
certain age, and for women, they don't really recommend.
God, I'm not to that age yet.
They don't really recommend the CA-125. The CA-125 saved my life, just so you know, because I had ovarian cancer, and it was caught so early that surgery was enough, and that's all I had to do. So I recommend it. CA-125. Also, if you are prone to diabetes or pre-diabetes, I would recommend a hemoglobin A1C or an A1C. Sometimes it's called a glycosylated A1C. That's a good test to have. And then, of course, you want to have a CBC. You want to have a urinalysis, just typical urinalysis. I think that's it.
That's about it.
I think that's it.
If you get their Cadillac version, you're probably going to be covered. Would you like a replacement?
Oh, I'm like, what are you talking about? A replacement Cadillac?
No.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
I've got iced tea now. Okay, moving along. Doo-doo-doo. And
Hola.
arriving late, but happy to be with you. Well, we're happy to have you. So thank you for coming on tonight and joining us. Alfredo, I got sick once and saw the doctor at his house. Got an IV and meds all after hours. It was recommended by my host. His wife did the books and receptionist. Was feeling better the next day. See, amazing, right? Oh, and when we were in San Miguel de Allende, our hostess
We had COVID.
was living with a COVID doctor, and we had COVID. So it was our first time having COVID.
And we had to move with COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, it was packed the car. That was.
Yeah, it was pretty. We weren't feeling good, and so we ended up buying some ivermectin because we were like, we're going to take something. We picked that up. We started taking it. He knocked on the door the next day.
No. We were upstairs on the terraza, and they were outside having a cigarette, and he was like, I understand that you have COVID, and we were like, yeah,
Okay.
and he was like, what are you taking? We said, ivermectin. He goes, how long? We went 2 days. He goes, 3 more days and you're good.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but he was willing to come over and check us out, and he probably wouldn't have charged us anything. Just assuming. So. Y'all make Mexican people sound much better than us Gringos.
No. The Gringos who adopt and assimilate into the Mexican culture, they're as good as the Mexican people. That's and are they nicer and in some ways better? Yeah.
It depends.
I mean,
in a lot of ways, yes.
Okay. Are you looking to be laid back? Are you looking to not have a lot of stress on yourself? Are you looking to enjoy life? If the answers to those 3 are yes, it's better.
I mean, I would say if you don't have people pounding fear into your head 24/7, you would be nicer. You're going to be nicer.
And they don't pay attention to all the outside noise.
No.
I mean, when they had the national election down here, they got up, they went and voted.
And it's Arlene. Because it's true.
Yeah. And then they had a party. And nowhere at the parties was there a dividing line where, were you Claudia? Were you, I mean, no, it was, they had a party. Because you know what? They go, it's going to be what it's going to be. And that's the hardest part in the U.S. to go, what really changes from A to B to B to A to A to B, because it keeps going back and forth, and boom. So that's as far as we're going down the political aisle. But it's just how they deal with it down here. They don't let it control them. And if you are a friend, that is all they care about. If you voted for the wrong party in the election, you know what? That was your choice. We don't care. We're friends. Give me a hug.
And we're done with politics.
Yep.
And JD, I know you said that the speakers are low, but we don't have control over volume. The volume is standardized. So if it's working for everyone else, It might be that maybe something needs to be turned up on YouTube, possibly, because that's happened to me too sometimes.
Oh God, yeah. There's so many different places you can have something turned down.
Yeah, and we're kind of we're hovering into the yellow over here,
which means it's trying to tell us don't shout.
Yeah, it's telling us we're shouting almost. So, yeah, is it on the right? Yeah, it's on green on the back too. And Annie's saying that the volume is fine, so it's got to be a setting on your side, unfortunately. Let's see. Hey, Papa, it's been a while, huh? We just got home from the best authentic Mexico food place in Little Rock. Taqueria Palenque. Celebrated receiving federal tax refund. The only Gringos there for a while. You know what? I didn't even work last year, and we got a refund coming.
Well, yeah, but
it was one of those tax credit things that they do.
I just got my tax refund today. I won the family basketball pool.
Oh, yes, he did.
Boom.
He did.
So the money got Venmo'd in today.
We invested $20. I think it was 10
a piece.
We put $10 a piece in, and he got 130 back.
And we had 20 people participate this year, 10 a piece. That's $200. The last place finisher gets their $10 back, which this year we had 2 that tied for that, so they get 5, so they might be able to buy half of a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Maybe.
And then we split the others, 2/3, 1/3. So I got 130. Thank you, Florida.
I think my crown was 3,000 pesos. What?
Yeah.
And it wasn't more than that. Oh my God, I just can't even imagine.
I
mean, I have broken the bank with flexible spending accounts and then some trying to pay for dental work.
And literally it took the better part of 3 years.
I mean, it was a lot of money
to get half done.
Yeah.
And then it was like, now we're going to start on the other. And they were going. Now, part of this was, I told them, no, we are not doing both sides at once. I said, because I want to be able to eat. We're doing side A. Then once side A is fully healed, then we'll go on to side B, because I was not going to be doing Jello for 6 months. That wasn't happening. So
like get your mouth wired shut.
Yeah, Mark likes his beef.
And Arlene got a quote for a crown from $3,500 to $5,700, depending on what I chose. You know what? I would probably choose the most expensive thing just because it might last longer. I don't know.
Depends on how old you are.
Really?
No, I'm saying depends on how old you are. Is whether you buy the one that's going to last. If you're 67 years old, do I want to spend one that's going to last me 30 years? I don't plan on being here at 97.
They really probably don't last that long though. She did tell me something interesting over the weekend when I went to my appointment. My very, very back teeth have silver fillings, and I forget the word they use. It starts with an A. Something Graham, Alec Graham, I don't know. Anyway, the whole thing is they're the silver, and the silver does oxidize, and they get to almost black looking, but they're the metal fillings. And
the children of the 60s know them very well.
Yes, and she said that they really don't use that material anymore. And normally they would recommend to just remove them and put new stuff in, except that in this case, those have been in there probably for a really long time. And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, the new stuff that they use today is only really recommended to last about 8 years.
Wow. You mean like everything else they make nowadays? Yeah. It's disposable.
So it may match your teeth shade better and blend in nicer and not have these black looking fillings, but they don't last that long. So then you got to go back and get basically maintenance replacements.
Yeah.
In the meantime.
It's like nobody fixes TVs anymore. They just buy a new one.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I have to brag about the dinner Lisa made tonight. Okay. let's see. She made sopas.
I'm thinking soup, rice, and beans.
Rice, and beans. Okay. Sounds tasty. I like me some soup and beans. Here we go. Varies by material if I want a porcelain crown or not. That's going to be interesting. Yes, Anna. Thank you about the lab work. Our son, a girlfriend is a nurse, so can read it for us if needed. Yeah, see?
There you go.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Somebody actually said something to us one time that you need to have a doctor interpret your results. And I went back and forth with these people they were getting under my skin. This wasn't that long ago. They were making these comments on that video that we did.
Yeah, I know. Just
what?
We have a professional here. She's got 25
Anyway.
years. She got 25 years of lab experience, and she knows, she's had doctors consult her basically and go, what's the normal range?
That was the final word in it.
And
Finally, I said, I'm the one that gives your doctor the information they need to understand the results. So I know them. I understand the results. Yeah.
So because I always get the same look every time we do it. She always looks at mine and goes,
"Oh, he's perfect." The guy drinks 3-liter bottle of Coke every day. Doesn't drink water. Doesn't really have kidney stones hardly ever. He used to, but not now. He doesn't gain weight. He doesn't have diabetes. He's got no kidney issues. I don't know how he does it. If I did half of what he did, I would be in a diabetic coma and shooting my kidneys to hell.
Yes. But I have dental issues. So, there has been a price to pay for 3 liters of Coke a day and smoking cigars for 45 years.
Yeah. So, and I agree. And that's
basically it. If something jumps out at us and goes, oops, this is suddenly elevated, then it's time to go see a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's close, then it's,
I have 6 implants and 6 crowns go on top of the implants.
I got 1, fixing to have 2.
Boy. Once we get the lab results back, who would we take them to in Mexico to read? What kind of doctor? Well, it would just, whatever doctor, if you needed to have something done, if you have someone who can read the lab results and let you know that everything's within normal ranges or not.
If you trust your son's girlfriend, the nurse, granted, if we were in the U.S., it's a HIPAA violation, but because first of all, they're not going to give you the results like they do down here. They read them and tell you, but down here they give them to you because you're responsible for your own records.
Right.
So, as long as you're comfortable with her knowing your business is about health and going, oh, okay, yeah, this is a little elevated, this, and normally if you're within the guidelines, boom. If not, then okay. Depending upon what city you're in, you may want to check someplace like the Mexico Relocation Guide, and because they have a list of doctors in there that have been vetted, and that's a good place to start to look for medical care.
Just a general doctor, or if you want to take a chance doing it, I don't think this would hurt anything. If you feel that you've got some lab results that are out of whack and maybe you need to follow up on those, you could probably go to a doc in the box on the side of the pharmacy and just say, I had these labs done recently. Here they are. Take the labs with you. And, I noticed this is out of range. Should I be concerned? What should we be looking at? Things like that.
And a lot of times you'll see some of them that will see, medical consultorio gratis, and it's free medical care. Not, to go in and get a consult with them doesn't cost. They ask for a donation, and it's one of those where we think, oh man, what would this cost in the U.S.? Well, you know what? I'm not above going, here's a quinientos, because $25, that's less than the copay we would have paid. So
for sure.
Yeah.
Or if you are going to be someplace long term, you may want to establish yourself with a regular provider And I think I'll tell you how I find the doctors that I've had to visit. The one who took my cast off, the orthopedic, the one who did the cyst drainage on me. I literally went to Google. I went to Google and I searched for exactly what I was looking for.
And with the best reviews.
And with the best reviews. And of course, the reviews are probably going to be in Spanish, so you'll have to translate them. But it'll give you a general idea of whether this is a good doctor that you might want to check out. And then if that's the person that you like, then you just establish that person as your regular doctor.
Now, one of the things, if you are going to one of these that are, they're listed as gratis, they're free, remember, you might be in a position where you can donate more to help those that can't donate any.
True.
And so sitting here going, they'd be happy with 100 or 200 pesos. Hey, here's 500. Some mother may come in here and not have anything with a kid that needs to be seen here.
Yep.
Let me help make up for some of that.
So look at this. Wilfredo, we had an x-ray tech that came to the house for Claudia that twisted a toe.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
that's cool. That's really cool. And they took x-rays right there? They actually took x-rays at the house?
X-ray machine.
That's impressive. I mean, that's impressive. Oh, great shirt, Mark.
Damn, skip it.
Ah, guess what I just did for him? Here's where your 130 just went.
No, well, okay, half of it.
I ordered.
No, paid for half. Sure.
I ordered him an official Canes jersey, Canes sweater. The
black.
The black, and it's not. I mean, if you get the official one, that like the kind they wear, it's expensive. It's like $500 or something.
Yeah, I think the cheapest we found was $429.99, something like that.
This is the next step down where the shoulders aren't quite as wide because
which quite honestly,
yeah.
This will fit a hell of a lot better because the official game ones, they're the official game ones. They're designed for all the pads all over the place. So
they got all the little patches. They're all sewn and embroidered, and that's the kind I wanted to get for him because we got jerseys one time for football. And I got the ladies' version of a Franco Harris jersey from the Steelers. And I was very disappointed because it had iron-on decals. And after a while, they started to peel off. And those things are not cheap.
It's one of those, it's like my Keekly jersey. It's all stitched. So,
Yeah, stitched ones are nice.
Stitched ones, we spent, I think this one ran us, what, $220, $230?
Something like
for
that.
The jersey. And, I got Sebastian Aho, and she got Stretchnikov.
I got Svechnikov. But see, there used to be a time when we watched the Hurricanes early that I used to make fun of everybody's name.
Because they had a bunch of them that were easy to.
I called the one guy Walmart, and Svechnikov.
Lucas Walmart.
I called Svechnikov Stretchnikov. And then we had Pesci, who's still there, but
Pesci is
now.
Did
he leave?
He's with the.
So I would call him. I would call him Joe Pesci. Who else did we have?
You had Needle Rider.
Needle Rider. I called him. What's his real name?
Nino Rider.
I called him Needle Rider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I got Svechnikov because it's just fun to say. I said it would have been cool if I could have customized it and just called him Stretch.
Yeah, $200 for the top. Yeah, that's. I remember when we went. My mom and my sister and I decided that we were going to do in this. I don't know how we got this to work out exactly the way. I'm Carolina. My sister's NC State, and so my mom wanted to go, and she'd never been in Reynolds. Not Reynolds. It's now Lenovo, PNC Arena, and she'd never been in the Dean Dome. And my mom was a huge basketball fan, and her being a Kansas fan, they have Allen Fieldhouse, which to them that is heaven. There is no better place. And I've toured it, and it is very nice. And she's like, but I want to go to the Dean Dome. And so the three of us got together. We got a room in the Raleigh area there, and we had NC State one night. Then we went to Carolina to the Dean Dome the next night, and then we went back to PNC Arena for a Hurricanes versus Rangers game. So we were there for 3 nights. We got to see all 3 teams. Out of the 3, the only one that won was Carolina, and I'm talking about the Hurricanes. We're talking about the Heels, but it was great. But I think we only paid $85, but that was early in the season, and that was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And it's not playoffs. And playoffs, that town loves their Canes.
For sure. Is Election Day in Mexico a government holiday?
I think it is.
Don't really know for certain. We were here for the last election.
We were in San Cristobal de las Casas.
Yeah, and I was walking around the neighborhood and actually came across a district where they were doing the election, the voting.
A polling precinct, but then down below in that field, they were having one hell of a party.
Yeah, and I remember walking past some businesses that were open, but they may have been open just to give people food and drink that voted. I mean, I don't know.
They're all about a hustle. If there's a way of making money, there are places they were going to not close.
I mean, I wonder if banks and stuff were closed. They probably were. And the thing is I'm sorry, we can't answer it, accurately because, well, we can't vote.
And even if we could vote, we weren't able to really vote intelligently because we don't. I think one of the biggest things that has changed about us is coming across the border. We gave up that politics over here. We ain't picking it up over here. And so it's like, you know what? We're gonna let the people that it affects the most
they vote.
Be the ones to vote.
For sure. And you can't vote unless you're a citizen anyway.
Yeah.
So even being a permanent resident doesn't give you the right to vote.
Yeah. In the words of Wet Willie, keep smiling.
And thank you, Deborah, for the compliment. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay. 4 implants in my upper 2 years ago, and snap indentures, and my total was $18,000. Oh, that hurts. Oh my gosh. Oh, that hurts. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's literally it's a luxury cruise. That's how much it is.
Oh,
it's a luxury cruise to pay for an implant.
But yeah, I mean that bill right there is enough to make them,
Yeah. All right. Talk about the party.
Is there a red Solo cup around
Where's
here?
our red Solo cup? Come on, Arlene. Red Solo cup. Oh, and there it is. Amalgam. Yeah. Yeah, that word.
Yeah.
We got to talk about the party. Correct about the fillings. The dentist here in Florida no longer does the black fillings. Yeah. For sure. My whole head was, and probably still is, full of silver fillings. I was told that it would seep into my bloodstream, but I'm still kicking. That might be a selling point to get you to take them out and put the new ones in, which of course have to be replaced every 8 years.
How many times have eggs been on the good side, bad side, good side, bad side? I mean, it's, I'm so tired of warnings that we have been given over and over and over again. And then 10 years later are contradicted, and then this, and then that. And it's one of those where I go, you know what? I'm going to die of something, but I'm going to die on my own terms. So,
The biggest disappointment for me seeing the photo scan of all my teeth is how many different colors are in there on my teeth. All the colors. I have lots of colors. And I drink a lot of coffee, so there's a lot of staining from coffee. And I've tried doing whitening and blah, 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 all different types. It's just like my teeth are just ugly. That's just the way it is.
We aren't even going to go there.
Hey.
Ella Tom.
It's Tom. Happy Earth, day after Earth Day, when I skipped school and took the train to Philadelphia, and 20-year-olds or older gave us two 16-year-olds pot, which my friend Denise accidentally dropped.
Pass the duchy to the left-hand side. Anyway,
Yeah. Go past the duchy.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see, Andrew. What does the average day look like for you guys? I want to know what to look forward to.
Are you going to be working or not? Because if
Yeah.
you're working, she can describe it. If you're not, you can get mine.
And it's not normal really for us because it's also doing YouTube. And
Well,
which I've been slacking off on lately just simply because I'm getting burned out and I'm tired. This job has been more demanding than my last job was.
well, because she's sort of the lead, the unofficial.
It's really kind of become that way. I'm like the unofficial lead. Yeah. My last job, I was just a worker bee, and I showed up and did my job and clocked out, and I was done.
You know, they assigned her tasks, and she did her tasks, and okay, and then she's, you know,
Yep.
What else do you want me to do? What else do you want me to do? What else? You know, now it's problems. You know, that ask her, and it's so that you know.
I mean, just for an example, Friday and Monday. No, not Monday, because Monday was crazy. Friday and yesterday, I worked on a 17-page document on how to do all the various changes that I had to do on Monday. It was 17 pages long, and it needed to be done because when we took this job, we were told that they had all these, they call standards of work, SOW documents that explain all the processes. And as I started to get ready to do this big set of changes that I had to do on Monday, I discovered that they're out of date. They're not accurate. And I struggled a lot, doing a lot of unnecessary work on this first big project that I had. And I'm like, no.
And another one she's encountering is they're 2 years behind on being up to code in the lab in a certain area. And they contacted her, and we're like, oh, we need this done, and we need this done now because we've got an inspection coming up, and da. And she's like, you've been out, you know. And the problem is this particular institution is sunsetting. You know, they're retiring the software that she does and switching to a new system. So they're not really investing a lot of resources in what she's doing. So, you know, it's sort of one of those where, you know, keep the damn thing running and
keep it running, put a Band-Aid on it if you can.
You know,
and that's what we're doing. So that's what a typical day looks like for me is I will get up anywhere between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, and I start work at 6.
Because you hit the snooze 3 times.
Yeah, well, it just depends on how tired I am.
No, I know.
Sometimes I'll get up at 5, but usually it's about 5:30, and I'll come downstairs. I will make a egg McMuffin type sandwich with homemade sourdough muffins. Now, I just got done making 5 dozen of these muffins. So, and I do this on purpose because it's like this. I will cook up about 4 or 5 servings of the egg, and I keep it in the fridge. So all I have to do is come downstairs, get some of that out of the fridge, get a muffin out of the fridge, toast the muffin, microwave the egg for 30 seconds, get my coffee, breakfast. Like breakfast in 10 minutes.
And go to the office.
And then I go upstairs and I log on. I have to log on at 6 because I'm working East Coast time. That is 8 a.m., 6 a.m. here in Mexico. I am on until I get an hour for lunch, and I work until 3 o'clock in the afternoon here,
yep.
Which is 5 there. If I'm on call, then I've got 24 hours a day for a week. I could potentially have issues that I get called about, and I have to resolve those. When I come downstairs about 3:30, because some days I work 9 hours instead of 8 because I'm in the middle of something that I don't want to put down and I need to get it done. So when I come downstairs, I'm tired. I may pass out and take a brief snooze on the couch, sitting up often like this for like a half hour to an hour. I may work on YouTube stuff. As of lately, not so much. And then by about somewhere between 7 and 9 o'clock, I'm really seriously considering bed.
No, about 9:30 we go to bed.
But then we end up in bed about 9:30 most of the time because we'll watch a program and then we go to bed.
I mean, I get up at about between 6 and 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Come down, check YouTube for comments, then do my normal, games that I do on my computer and on my phone, and then have breakfast, and then wait for her to come down about 10 or so. She has lunch. After she goes back up to lunch, I normally go read for about an hour or two.
And falls asleep.
Well, I normally get a 20, 30-minute nap in there, but, I normally knock out a book about every 2 to 3 days too. So, yeah, there's a lot of reading going on. And then, come back down, I fix dinner. And, this time of year, well, yeah, the Braves are on almost every night at 5 o'clock down here. If the Canes are on, sorry, Braves, love you, but no, the Canes take precedence right now. So,
yeah,
it's check that, and may watch another hockey game because I still think the NHL playoffs are the best playoffs in all the sports, and especially now they played a couple games, starting to get a little chippy. And
lots of chirping going on.
Yep, and so it's starting to get fun time to watch them. And other than that, by about 9:30, it's like so. We go to the grocery store about once a week.
In other words, we really don't do anything during the week, mostly because I'm working and there's no time really to go anywhere and do anything. Sometimes after I'm done working in the middle of the week, we might go to the grocery store, maybe. On the weekends, we try to plan to do something sometimes, like we went to Techies for one night, just an overnight trip. We'll go to Arlene and Annie Vet's every now and then, but we haven't really had a lot of time to go do anything, which has been shocking because I thought we would be hitting a lot of places.
To be fair, when we first got here, we needed to recharge our batteries. I mean, we were running on fumes. And for the first 3 months, other than really going to go see Annie Vet and Arlene, we really did not do anything. I mean, we vegged out and
how
just
long
went.
Have we been here now?
5 months.
I have not unpacked.
Wow.
We've been here for 5 months. I haven't unpacked.
I did that first weekend.
I know you did.
Yeah.
See, and the reason why is because we were here, we moved in, and the next day I was flying to the U.S. to get the laptop for the new job, and then the new job was on.
It was on.
And it's really hard, working a 40-hour week, trying to do YouTube and having any energy to do anything else.
And quite honestly, now it's not even worth unpacking because I mean we're going to the States in 6 weeks basically, and then we come back and we're here for 2 weeks, and then
now
we're SLP.
When I wasn't working, it was kind of like, well, you get up whenever you want, and you might walk out to the fruteria, or you might go to a taqueria, or I don't know, we plan a trip, maybe go drive, see something, an archaeological site, a beach, something.
We had more energy, we had more time, and we got here, we were tired. We were dragging. I mean, there were snail trails behind us because we were just.
That's gross.
I'm sorry.
Snail trails are slimy.
Well, okay. There are butt cheek trails in the sand.
That's better.
because we were dragging. we needed to recharge the batteries, and and we've gotten some things done here lately. I mean, you've been a dentist, I've been a dentist. You go to the dentist next week. 3 days, we're going to go get our eyeglasses done.
Finally, we're getting eye exams.
And thank you, Annie, Vet, and Arlene. They did a trial run on the bank today. And so hopefully if we get out of the eye doctors in time, we're going to be able to go over and get a bank, get her the bank account open.
We have appointments scheduled to get our address changes with the INM.
So everything, and I think she's also working on the RFC upgrade for us, isn't she as well?
No.
Oh, okay. Whatever. I mean, whatever we get done, we get done. But we are getting some things accomplished now.
And I knew there was something about mercury. Thank you, Mary. Mercury that leaches. I have these for so long. If mercury is poisoning me, it's too late.
Yep.
Yeah, soapase. We knew what you meant there, Terry. Soapase.
Now, okay. Just to answer, so we're not blowing past Suzanne. Suzanne wanted.
Where did we?
Well, no. She's asked twice about the party weekend. So
no, we're getting there, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Quick on the estimate. There's your crown, 6,500. All right. And you're in Puerto Vallarta, so you're probably going to pay a little bit more just because of where you are.
All right, hold on. Is that 6,500 US or is that 6,500 pesos?
I'm just guessing.
Well, I'm trying to clarify.
And yes, Wilfredo says the X-ray was right there at the house.
There you go.
Okay, and Yvette says download Doctoralia, and you can find a general medical doctor, and they can point you into a specialty direction. That is good advice. Go. Thank you, Yvette.
There's a girl.
Very good. That's right. All right. Do we want to talk real quick about the party now? I mean, it's really not our party to talk about.
Well, no, but since they're not here, and the only people who are there that have the, mic to discuss it, are us. Well, I mean,
I made these meatballs that were in a sweetened chili sauce with rinsed sauerkraut. They were a hit, and they were pretty much gone.
Jalapeno poppers.
The jalapeno poppers were gone fast. I did those stuffed with cream cheese wrapped in bacon, and of course everybody brought some drinks with them. And Annie and Arlene had a nice little platter out with various salamis and cheeses, and things
crackers.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, all right, just quick back to the shopping thing. We took a bunch of crackers, which I don't know if Annie, Yvette, and Arlene have noticed yet in their pantry. There's a whole bunch of crackers in there.
We gifted them the crackers.
Because and this is sort of back to a sort of customer service, sort of shopping. They like to do these promotions with Coca-Cola down here. And if you buy a 3-liter Coke, the first time it happened to us here at the HEB, for every 2 3-liter Cokes that you bought, you got 1 bottle of Head & Shoulders shampoo. Now, 2-liter Cokes run 94 to 96 pesos.
Whoop, sorry.
And then they give you an 89 peso bottle of shampoo. And so, we had 5 bottles of shampoo.
I don't know. It was a lot of shampoo.
We had a lot of shampoo. And so Gina kept the ones that she likes. And Annie Beth was like, oh, I like that one. So it's like, here, boom, here you go. You're set for the year. Then after that, it was the crackers. And so for every 2, you got a package of crackers. So we got a variety of both the saltines and they're in the Mexican version of the Ritz crackers. And we left them in their pantry. So, but, and the latest one is when we went last week, I was going to get I was just gonna pick some of the Cokes off the shelf, and I happened to notice they had an 8-pack of them, all shrunk wrapped together, which would be a whole lot easier to carry. So I got the 8-pack of the 3-liter Cokes and put them on the bottom of the cart, and so we got 8 packs of refried beans. So yeah, they like to do these promotions where they give stuff with it. So yeah, they had lots of crackers to put with the meats and the cheeses and all of that, and everybody arrived, and we had a interesting collection. La Karencita from the YouTube channel La Karencita and her husband Dave were there, and
some other friends.
Other friends of Annivette and Arlene were there, and a couple of subscribers that were friends that met Annivette and Arlene up in San Miguel de Allende. Mark and Vicky were there, and we were all there just, doing it, hanging, and karaoke starts, and then it's like, Cesar was there, and it was like, I don't sing that much, next thing you know, once you get a few libations in you, and
liquid courage,
and then it's like, I always like this song. Well, we've only got over 40,000 karaoke songs.
Oh, Lord.
So, and some of those are duplicates, so it's probably close to 30,000, 25 to 30,000, 20,000.
Probably about 20,000, maybe 15,000.
15 to 20,000.
Still a lot of karaoke.
Originals, each one, unique song. So, and of course, she's over there going, "Oh, you want this one? Here, let me just go to the site and boom, And so
I was downloading brand new karaoke tracks, and
so everybody got into the act, and we were having a lot of fun, and we actually were pretty good. We ended up fairly early, normally earlier than what we normally do when it's just 4 of us. So
I thought it went well. It was really fun to see Karen from La Karencita and her husband David. Both of them sang. At one point, they were dancing with each other.
Yep.
Arlene was having a good time. Vicky and Mark got Arlene a really, really, really cool
bar set
for her bar, which was really nice. And I don't know. I think we had a good time.
Yeah. Well,
Cesar was there. I actually did a song in Spanish. I did a Caifanes song. Negra Tomasa. Yeah, that was fun. Anyway, we had a good time.
It was. I actually had beer left over for the next day. So.
And the next day we had Paula Dean's French toast casserole with praline topping and mixed berries.
Talk about something to raise your sugar level.
Whew. It was good though. It was one of those ones where, I had to have like a half piece. A half piece was enough.
Well, it's one of those. It'd been so long since we had it. We all sort of put too big of a piece on our plate, and we were all finding ourselves about halfway through what we had on our plates, all doing God.
It was a lot, but I think it went well, and I think Arlene had a good time, and it was a good party. The original Earth Day, 1970, Redbone played. Ooh, and Alex Ginsberg did his poetry. Oh my. Forgot how to say alcaparras in English. Capers. Really? Okay. Nice. We have 2 different doctors that came at different times. Okay. For the toe, Isaac said, I used Dr. Radia and have found excellent specialists and booked appointments directly with them. You know what? I'm going to download that then. If that's an app, I'm going to download it so that we have it.
Yeah.
No matter where we go. That's a good recommendation. Okay, this I did know. Election day
Yes.
was a dry day.
Oh, yes.
We did know that.
Oh,
yes.
yes. Because there was more crime tape going around in that, I think we were was it a Walmart or a Chedraui?
It was Walmart in San Cristobal de las
I know,
Casas.
but I can't remember if it was because we had gone to both of them. And yeah, no, you are not,
Yeah.
But boy, was there a line the day before.
Yeah.
So
I was like, what's going on?
I mean, it was sort of similar to 10 o'clock p.m. In the Yucatan, the state of Yucatan. And, 10 p.m., the convenience store stopped selling. And we were in a convenience store one night, we were down San Francisco in that OXXO, and they had one register that was doing nothing but ringing
that's
up
right.
beer.
The night before.
No.
Oh.
Every night, 10 o'clock.
Because
you could buy it in the beer, but you could buy it in the bar, but you couldn't buy it in the store. And so it was like, hurry up, buy it now.
What's that? Okay, nothing. Just making sure I wasn't getting some kind of message here. Tom, remember when they used to give us the silver fillings and you could hear the Close Encounters thing in your ear? I don't know, Tom. That never happened to me.
Only with a guitar and Spinal Tap when they picked up.
And how did your French toast casserole turn out? Well, it was delicious. To be fair, I felt like it was a little more
custardy.
It was more bread pudding-like than I wanted it to be. That is, if I recall, when I used to make it for us, you liked it a little drier.
Yes, I prefer.
So I would use a little less of the milk egg mixture when I made it for us, and I didn't do that this time.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you follow the exact directions on it, it comes out very custard-like.
I mean, it's very much like a bread pudding more than a French toast.
And so we used to cut it. She used to cut it down a little bit because I prefer a little bit more body in it. So.
And did we know Annie Vet and Arlene before we moved to Mexico?
Nope.
No. Annie Vet and Arlene were subscribers, and we had just arrived. We weren't in Querétaro very long when we first arrived in Mexico.
We've been here about 4 or 5 weeks.
It wasn't that long, and they were following just a few weeks after we arrived. And they had a very unusual situation that was very stressful, and they reached out to us for some assistance, particularly with downloading offline Google Maps, because they were trying to make their way on their own from, I believe, Guadalajara.
Yeah, well, they first get to LAX and their luggage is overweight, and Annie Vet's having to open it up and put on coat after coat after coat after coat, as much as she could put on her body, and then having to ditch $300 bottles of lotion, body lotion, anything they could do to get it down. And they couldn't fly into Querétaro because
of the dogs.
Because Lady is over 60 pounds, because Lady's a good-sized dog.
Let's just shorten the story and say it was stressful.
Yeah.
And so,
and they're texting us.
They're texting us, asking us for assistance, and we met them after that. And
I needed alcohol just as the texts were coming in, because it was like
I was getting anxiety because it was a harrowing story, and they needed some help.
And then it literally was one of those. We met them to go to dinner at 1810, and we knew them for life.
Yeah.
From the first time we met them, it was like,
hey, look, it's my sister from another mister. Sisters. So, yeah. So that's when we met them. We met them not long after we arrived. I know how hard you work. I've seen it firsthand. Oh, Tom. Yeah, I do. I have a very strong work ethic. And my biggest frustration in the work that I do is when other people that I work with do not possess that.
And they don't hit the bar.
I'll just tell you very briefly today, because I finally had a moment that I could do this. The biggest, hardest bit of what I've had to do for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I finished up on Monday. So, and then today I had a little bit of time. I ran the numbers on the number of tickets that everybody on the team has had closed and the number they still had open. And I'm not in the first place. No, my coworker Candace is. I'm very close behind. But there are 2 people that literally have one quarter the amount of tickets that they've worked on, and it's frustrating. And that's, because my work ethic is so strong, it bothers me that I have to.
So that was $6,500 US.
Yeah, 6,500. I see that.
That's cheaper than what we paid for one implant over here. So
For real. Yes, we still have crackers. I bet you guys opened up that pantry and went, whoa, where'd all these crackers come from? I'm like, we can't use these crackers.
well, I mean, the young lady who I'm checking out, because she happened to be working, it was one of those where she was working. I was like, I'm gonna run down real quick and get the HEB, and she walks up with all these crackers.
Oh Lord.
And I'm like, dos y dos,
Yeah.
And then, next time we go back, dos y dos.
Basically, it was like Ritz and saltines.
Yep.
Kind of like that. We take 2 of each. Vicky, I'm so glad you had a good time. Ready for more karaoke. Vicky didn't want to sing, guys.
Oh, she got into it.
But she got into it at the end.
It'll be happening soon. Somebody got a birthday coming up. Won't be naming any names, but somebody got a birthday coming up.
Yes, I have a birthday coming up very, very soon. So maybe we need to do it again. I don't know. Gina Negra Tomasa and Mark's Red Solo Cup. Let's have a party. Oh, goodness. Or I'll have to pull out that Fergie song again. Fergalicious. Yeah. And no, drop a little, Mama. I don't want to take a man. Oh, thank you. I've heard Dr. Elia, but thought they were geared to Gringos and more expensive. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see how this goes. I went for seconds of the French toast. Second piece definitely bigger than the first.
What was amazing is we brought it home and we didn't. We may have had half.
I don't think it was half.
Maybe a little less than half. And each day we were taking smaller and smaller portions. Slivers.
Yeah.
And it was just like
little slivers.
That's all it takes.
For sure. I was in Costa Rica many years ago on election day and basically had to bribe the front desk guy for 2 beers.
I can believe that.
Yeah, wow. They want you to vote sober, man. Your mic is excellent. What make model is it? Ooh, well, it is a Yeti.
Yeti Blue.
It's a Yeti Blue, and here's the little thing on the back if you can read it. Yeti Blue, right here. It's hard. Anyway, it has various pattern buttons you can choose here so that you can do, I don't know the actual terms, the whole room, or you can do 2 people, one
directional.
Directional, yeah. Right now I have it facing us, and then there is a dial here that I can turn up and down. You can also pause it to turn it off, and it has
also known as mute.
Yeah, and it has a thing at the bottom. I don't think there's a hole down here, so you can actually screw it onto. Is it called a boom?
Yes.
So if you want to have it hang, and
if you want to use it as a boom mic.
Yeah.
Which, we pull that thing down and just, but no.
I bought that thing, about 4 or 5 years ago.
like 6. You got the about 5 because you got
About
it
5 years ago.
You got it during COVID when you started working from home.
Before COVID.
Well, and that's over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I started working at home, and I wanted to have a really good mic, because when I started working at home, though, I had the headset, and I still use the headset.
I know it's scary to believe, but it was 6 years ago that COVID started hitting the U.S.
Lordy. Yeah. Let's see. Annie says that Dr. Elia is a widely used app used amongst the locals, and if you filter for Inglés, you see how few available there are versus Spanish speakers. Yeah. Okay.
And quite honestly, we've had numerous encounters with doctors who, spoke un poquito, and with Google Translate and our Spanish and their limited English, we were able to have.
We could do
boom.
it.
So
it worked.
Yep.
I mean, medical's the same in any language.
Yep.
It's just you just got to work to get translation. You know what, Vicky? That French toast casserole really is good, and I also like bread pudding.
Next time you and Mark just go to the other bedroom, and
yeah, just stay the night.
Stay the night, and you can get up and go. All right, where's that?
French toast casserole? And those cookies, right? You finally got to try the cookies. I made Colazzi, and I only had enough dough to make about a dozen, but they got eaten for sure. Oh, hi, Christopher.
Hola.
Sorry, I had to finish up with student in Zoom, so I missed that. Oh, well, you're here now. The party, was it in Querétaro? The party was south of Querétaro in El Pueblito in Corregidora, and at our friend Arlene and Annie Betts, because it was Arlene's birthday. And we had a good time. I just looked up La Carrencita. I didn't realize that her and her husband are also based in Querétaro. Well, they were. They were based in Querétaro. They're not anymore because they've moved to, I want to say, is it Tula? Did they move to Tula?
I'm not sure where.
Well, anyway, they moved to her birth town because they had a house that I believe she bought from a parent or a grandmother. Anyway, that's where they're living now.
It's been their family for a while.
But they do come to Querétaro on occasion still for things. So, yeah, we got to hang out with her and her husband, David. And they were a lot of fun. And I think they had a really good time. So maybe we can talk them into coming.
Better hurry up and start making some plans so you can give people time to.
Oh, that's right. They had a heroin drive through Mexico as well. Yes, they did, Suzanne. And it's a long story. And we've told it before, and I don't really want to tell their story. It's just suffice to say that they reached out for some help. And that's how we met them. We met them very shortly after that, and we've been friends ever since. Ain't that right, girls? What's the plans for my birthday? How horrible is it for me to say that I've been so busy I haven't even thought about it? I don't know. And it's only, about 3 weeks away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's only about 3 weeks away. I don't even know what day it is. Hold on. 1,
May 14th.
2. Oh my God. It is 3 weeks a day to the day.
Oh, good. We won't be doing a live on your birthday.
Exactly 3 weeks away. Yeah, that's true. No live on my birthday because it's 3 weeks away. I don't know what we're doing yet, but my assumption is we're probably just going to do what we always do. Eat food, drink, and sing.
What's wrong with that?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Uh-oh. Annie Vest, she said, we'll be doing it again for Gina's birthday. Yeah, but we have to be, I believe it's the Sunday after that. Is it the Sunday after that that's Mother's Day?
No, before it.
Oh, shoot. So maybe we'll have to do a party the Sunday after that, or the Saturday after that.
The 11th is Mother's Day in Mexico.
The 11th is Mother's Day in Mexico. So we won't be doing it before. We can do it after, maybe the 17th or something. We'll have to plan. Yes. Are the weight limits for flying in Mexico more stringent than for flying in the U.S.? Well, the only time that we have flown in Mexico was when we are flying to the U.S. So I would say no, with regard to that. Now, flying domestically in Mexico, we don't know because we haven't done it yet.
But we drive everywhere.
Maybe we drive everywhere. Maybe someone on the chat, maybe Annie, Vet, or Arlene, if you've done some flights domestically.
Because they came to see us directly and then went from Querétaro to Monterrey and then Monterrey to Merida. So
yeah, so they might be able to speak to that, although I don't think that they had any real weight restriction issues because they probably had carry-ons because that was just a weekend kind of.
Yeah, that was a backpack
short trip. A lot of people in Mexico just take the bus. Honestly, we haven't done that yet either.
Well, and come July here in Querétaro, they're going to be breaking ground on doing the Querétaro to Mexico City train, which cool. That's going to be,
And I have to say that the last couple of trips that I have personally had to make to the United States and his last trip to the United States were both booked within days of the flight. And if you don't know this, you got to know. If you try to book a flight within a few days of the flight, you're going to pay through the nose.
Might as well just book first class.
And there literally was like less than a $200 difference between coach and first class.
And since we were muling stuff in, we were going to both have multiple bags. So by the time you add in the extra baggage fee, it was a wash. So
it really was.
Put me in first class.
I'm going to take 2 bags with me. Both bags might be over 50 pounds each, which if you're first class, you're allowed to have, I think, 70 pounds. But both bags were going to probably be 50 pounds each. And I would have to pay for each of those bags for each leg of that flight. Well, that's included in my ticket if it's first class. It just didn't make sense.
We're not doing that when we're going up for the family reunion because we're literally going to be doing 3 one-way tickets.
Yeah.
Because we got one leg to get from Querétaro to Detroit, then Detroit to Kansas City, and then Kansas City back to Querétaro.
And we're booking far enough in advance that we're pretty much going to get the best deal that you can get for the most part on a coach seat. But when it's last minute,
I mean, right now it's almost double the price of coach and the price of first class. Yeah. So, and since it's both of us going, we're sitting here going, no.
Yeah. When you book in advance, it's better just to pay for coach.
Yep.
Last minute ones, they charge so much for a last minute ticket. You might as well just do first class and be comfortable.
Yep.
And I don't really, but again, domestically, the answer, don't know about domestic flights if they have stricter restrictions on weights. We would need somebody who's actually done domestic flights between cities in Mexico to answer that. If there's anybody out there, please do.
we may get to that point eventually, but right now, that's not the case.
Oh, I jumped on and I missed this one. I'll come back to this. Mark's, KJ and I have our birthdays 3 days in a row, throwing us a party. Better call the police. That's true.
Well, and that may be occurring when we're down there for the 2026
the next meetup. The next meetup. Yep.
That could be a dangerous proposition.
Joining and you weren't aware, we actually had a YouTubers meet and greet in San Miguel de Allende.
Well, that's how Mark and Vicky
in January, right?
Met Annie, Vet, and Arlene.
And so we're doing it again in near Lake Chapala. And this time KJ and Craig from Truly Remarkable Life will be the hosts.
Yes.
So that's going to be probably in February. Again, we don't have the dates yet. You got to get with them.
I am.
I know. You said that 2 weeks ago.
I know. We haven't got a date yet. But the dates they're looking at are either going to be the Super Bowl or Valentine's Day. I mean, because they're one weekend apart. And so early February of 2026 in IE.
For sure.
Which means if you're flying in, you'll be flying into Guadalajara.
The weather in Querétaro right now is dry and it's warm.
Today was warmer than normal. Normally when I get up in the morning, I throw on a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt. And this morning I got up and I could already feel the heat was greater this morning than what it has been the last couple of days, and threw on shorts and a tank top. So
it was supposed to get up to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. I don't know if it did, but that is the warmest it's been this week.
Yeah, it's typically been low 80s, nighttime high 40s.
High 40s, low 50s.
You know, I mean, it's good sleeping weather. All you need is a fan, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, and it can get gusty.
Oh yeah.
It can get gusty.
Which brings
and
dust.
And dusty. But it's very dry. And so when it does get warm as the day goes on, it gets very, very stuffy in this particular
this particular where we're at. The biggest issue here is if we had a screen door down here would be a lot better.
Because the breeze.
Because we could open the screen door on one side, open the screen door on the front, and get that cross breeze. We have a window, but the problem is if we open the window, it keeps blowing the blind and hitting me in the back of the head.
And we leave the blind down because that's where the sun.
That's where the sun
That's
sets.
where the sun is setting, and we need the shade from the sun. So we can't open that window. We can't open this door.
Because if you open the door, we tried that one day, and about an hour of doing that, I was up there with had to come back down with the bug wand, and it was beep, 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 beep,
there
beep,
were
beep,
mosquitoes.
Beep, 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 beep. I mean, it's like
when I sat down at my office chair this morning and I looked out at the little patio that's right off at this one bedroom, I could see, and I counted them, 6 mosquitoes hovering outside the glass door, one trying to get in. And I'm like, there's 6 mosquitoes out there. Holy crap. So we can't really open the doors if there's no screen. And there's no wind moving around in this bottom section of the house. And it gets very, very stuffy. And it's hard to breathe. It's like dry, stuffy.
Yeah, I mean,
but if we had a cross breeze, it'd be great.
Or a mini split. Just saying.
Yeah, having an air conditioning unit would be nice.
I mean, I
a
don't
lot
think,
of places here don't have
no,
them.
in this particular unit,
Yeah.
I would put in 2 mini splits. One down here and one in the master bedroom. And the one in the master bedroom is maybe
Debatable.
But the one down here is, yeah. I mean, this could use a mini split down
Well,
here.
the thing is even if you did open up your screens and you let the cross breeze come through, you're going to be covered in dust.
Oh.
I mean, the dust is just, it's wild. It's wild how much dust is in here.
Yeah, the cleaning lady comes Friday, and I'm afraid she's going to be like, oh, my God.
I know, there's a lot this time. There's a lot this time.
And for some reason.
Because, well, we've been opening the windows to let the air in because it's been getting warmer.
Yeah, I mean, in the master bedroom, there's a lot of dust around the corners of the walls and everything else. It's just, yikes.
I mean, but I don't know. If you have a place with some breeze, I think it's fine. It's not like it's humid. It's not like it's humid. So, it's tolerable. I think I already said that. Sorry. Skipping over. Cookies. The cookies. Yeah, the kolaches were pretty good. They're one of my favorites. And you are very welcome, Christopher. I know it wasn't much help. It really wasn't very helpful, probably, but just because we haven't flown domestically. So, would you be somewhere cool in the hot months? And hot months are starting up. I mean, I don't know where cool is
I mean,
in the hot months. I mean, we're pretty much in the coolest part of the country.
right. But our whole design of our tour, minus this break here, was designed for us to be in the hottest parts of the country that we were considering at that time, because we wanted to be in Huatulco when it was hot. We wanted to be in Veracruz when it was hot, and it was hot.
It was hot.
It was hot. I mean, but because what we wanted to find out is if we like these locations at their worst,
yeah,
we know we will like them or love them at their best. And so, it wasn't about us going, let's, run from it. Because if I wanted to be someplace cool right now, we'd be at San Cristobal de las Casas. I mean, that you want to talk about a place to go during the summer.
Yeah, it was quite nice there.
When we were in Tuxtla Gutierrez, it was in the 90s. It was hot.
Yeah.
I mean, hot. And when you drive an hour away and go up the mountain to San Cristobal, and we're sitting outside in the rocking chairs with hoodies on. So 1 hour, and we drove south. So it makes no sense, but the elevation and where San Cristobal de las Casas is located, I don't think you can find probably many cooler places than that to chill out. And someday we will go back to San Cristobal de las Casas
Check it out.
Sit in the rockers and just go,
yeah.
Smell the pines, hear the Guatemalans invading.
So funny. We flew Volaris Cancun to Puerto Vallarta via Mexico City. Just took in luggage, no problems. Yep. Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, that's true, Eddie, that isn't it?
Oh, Lord.
Yep.
And this is a true statement. Tom, it's true. It wouldn't be the first time the police were called.
Been there, done that.
No, I never noticed the lights, but he did.
And Yvette and I were sitting there looking at each other, and it was like, we kept looking up going, I'm seeing blue and red flashing on the ceiling. And she's looking at me, and I was like, yeah, I see it too. And,
Got to turn it down a little bit.
Time to calm down.
Turn down the karaoke.
And we sang till 4 a.m. We just
turned it down
and put the mics away. And
we flew to Oaxaca and went through Mex. It was less than 300 for 3 people, and also went to Cancun direct from Querétaro, and it was round trip for less than 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every once in a while we have seen this where Volaris will do an annual sale.
Yeah.
And I mean annual. It's a sale for 1 year's worth of flights.
Oh yeah.
For
like it's like one price.
$600 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's unlimited flights on Volaris. So I think we've seen that now twice. I haven't seen it lately, but I went, wow, if we were hunkered down one place, hard to beat that.
Just fly.
What, do you want to go to Mexico City this weekend?
Yeah.
Here, come on, let's just book a plane. Go.
We flew from Puerto Vallarta to Querétaro for the meet and greet. We didn't have to, and unfortunately, we didn't have check-in. We had carry-on.
Okay, no check baggage.
Okay. Believe it's the same weight, but not 100% positive. Okay, thank you for that. And Vicky, we just bought a portable AC unit today for the bedroom to get through the summer. 2 months. Hopefully it will cool down. Ooh.
I told you, I saw those, and you went, well, we don't need those.
It's not that we don't need them, it's just we don't have room for them.
Well,
to carry them around.
We have room for them because, when we leave, we know somebody that would gladly take care of them and probably avail themselves of an AC unit. I mean,
we could get one.
But
then we're risking the chance of shooting the electric bill up, and then.
Well, we'd only run it when we're in the room. So
true. We might need it for this room. This room gets pretty stuffy. It's hard. It's not that it's hot and uncomfortable. It's stuffy. There's a difference.
It's stuffy and uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yep. Booked BOS to Cancun nonstop for $202 each round trip. Woo!
From Boston to Cancun, can't go argue with that.
Very nice. They must not spray for mosquitoes. They will be spraying here soon in Chapala. Stinks really bad. Well, we have an issue though, Dave. There's actually two bodies of water. One is a slightly bigger body of water, and it actually shows up on Google Maps. The other one doesn't.
Dave's by the biggest lake in Mexico, so he's got even more water.
They'll be spraying there.
Yeah, I mean, it's two little almost like retaining ponds.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they do or maybe they don't do it as often, because I know that around Lake Chapala that is a big body of water.
Yeah.
They may want to do it more frequently, similar to what they do in the Yucatan, because Yucatan, you have all the cenotes and you got all that water down there, and they spray quite frequently. Plus, you don't want to piss the Gringos off.
And they were even doing the tinacos in Oaxaca.
Yeah, and what's the larvicide?
Yep. I don't know. The Pravada does have somebody who goes around and sprays. What they're spraying for, I don't know. My assumption was
it wasn't a fog like they do for mosquitoes. No. It was more of
it's probably for scorpions and stuff.
Because we haven't seen we saw the one, and 10 days later, and we didn't complain or anything, but they came around and they were spraying and
oh yeah, I scooped a little scorpion up and threw him outside. I didn't smush them this time.
So whoever complained back in 2022 when
we killed a scorpion,
when he killed the scorpion and wanted to know what Mrs. Scorpion and little scorpions, thought of us for killing that one. This time we gave mercy.
We scooped him up and put him outside.
And yes, we actually had somebody that called us out on that. So because my mentality is still the same. Out there, that's your domain. In here's our domain.
Well, nobody wants to get stung, so he was actually pretty skittish and he ran away from us.
Yeah.
So, we haven't had to turn our AC on yet. We haven't been out front door open and 2 sliding doors open, and we get a nice cross breeze. Yeah, that's what we would like.
But it don't work.
But we can't. We can't cross breeze in this room, and that's half the problem right there. If I could open that window and let the breeze come in, it would be fine. But the sun is beating through that window, so I can't raise the blind because then that's all the heat coming in from the sun. So what you gonna do? Cooler is at 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and
that explains San Cristobal de las Casas
for sure.
That is up there.
And honestly, this location in Mexico is also cooler, as is San Luis Potosi.
Oh, I mean, difference between here and Huatuco right now?
Holy shit! Oh yeah.
Yeah, my tan was better in Huatuco because it didn't matter if we were inside, outside. It was just hot.
Muggy, wet, hot.
Yep.
Humidity, hot. Dry heat and humidity heat are 2 different things. I will say, if it's really dry though, I can get nosebleeds. Like when I would go to Las Vegas, I would get nosebleeds because it was so dry. So anyway, this is my 3rd anniversary of getting my RP in Ajijic, and remember how hot my Airbnb was there. So yes, you guys are right. Spend the time in Chiapas during those 2 hot months, or do a cruise or some, I'd love to do another cruise. That'd be fun. Back to Alaska or something. I just bought a couple of units and have a tank of water that runs through a membrane, cooling up big time. You can also add ice if you want to.
Yeah, almost like a portable AC unit that
Yeah, the other day I stuck a small table fan blowing over a pan of ice, and that helped a little bit, just a little bit, blowing on me.
I was going to say it may have helped you. I didn't feel anything on the other side of the room, but
No.
is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't know if I want to get a portable unit. Again, that's just more stuff to carry around.
No, and no, those are the types of things that, when we make the decision, we settle down. There's going to be, oh, it doesn't have this, but we would really like it to be comfortable. Yeah, what?
Nothing. I'm clearing my throat.
Oh,
Let me clear my throat.
okay. Yeah. So these are the types of small appliances, that would make life easier that we just abstain from doing because there ain't no room.
Ain't no room.
We still got.
There's no room.
We got 6 more cities.
Terry's got some sausage fingers. He's not even drinking. Oh, so funny. Oh, gosh.
Your knee will feel better if you do, though.
We're going to do an Alaska cruise next year. Come with us. Ooh, it's tempting.
You'll still be working.
I'm still going to be working. It's really hard to do that. And I don't get paid if I don't work. I don't.
And we do love the Alaska cruise.
We do.
Of all of our cruises,
that was the best one.
That was the coldest, but it was also the best.
It was the best one.
And even though we had, the bartender up at my smoking bar.
Sunset Bar?
Yeah, the Sunset Bar, go, I can't believe the weather we are getting. I mean, it was, but as the night started to get, well, it never really did get dark. I mean, but.
No, this was in May.
This was in May.
It was in May, and it was always like twilight.
Yeah, I mean, we were sitting there and we're going, oh, God, it's starting to get a little dark. Must be about 7 o'clock. Oh, no, it's 11. Huh?
Yeah.
But the wind would start, we were all hunkered down in blankets and gloves and, were we going inside and stopping drinking? No, but,
The best part of that cruise was going up a fjord, one of the fjord. It's Tracy Arm Fjord. But almost any of them would be fine because they're just so beautiful and so pristine. And you always end up at the end close to a glacier. And as you approach the glacier, there's always, calving of the glacier. So there's pieces of ice just floating around, and they're beautiful and they're blue. And all the wildlife, it's all protected. So you see bears and eagles, and I don't even know what else.
Bighorn sheep.
On the sides as you're going by.
You see bald eagles like they're frigging crows.
I mean, it's amazing. And it's just so beautiful.
And then to watch him being the captain, her, I don't know, I think it was a him on ours, take that ship, and you're sitting here going, we're at the back of the ship. Those of us who smoke, we're back there having a cigar and a beer, and we're waiting for them to turn around because then we get up to see everything again from the back. And looking around, I'm going, this fjord is not much wider than the length of this ship. And he just takes it like a pencil and goes, spins it around. And I mean, it was like 30 feet at both sides and a sheer rock wall. Okay, spin it, no problem. So.
Did I miss something here? Would you still recommend the Mexico relocation guide? I'm guessing yes.
Yes.
I'm about to purchase this. I'm a year out. I would.
Yes.
And here's why. And
yes.
I know that there's a lot of change lately. First of all, they got rid of the regularization program. It may come back, it may not. So R&E's off the tables. Income requirements to qualify to get in have gone up. And it's making it harder for people to actually come. But that guide has a lot of information in it to help you adjust to living here, to help you with things that you might encounter if you want to rent, if you want to buy a home. You need an attorney. You want to get your driver's license. You, getting your utilities.
Insurance, doctors.
Yes, doctors, insurance, getting your utilities turned on, banking. I mean, it's a very helpful guide for day-to-day basic needs that you will need and will encounter trying to live here successfully. So I think it's very helpful. And when we first got here, we used it a lot initially, and we haven't used it so much lately. But the reason for that is because we used a lot of the resources that were in it to get established here initially. And now we're traveling, and eventually we're going to stop traveling. We will need it again for those resources to help us get established into a more permanent residence. And that's why we think it's a good guide to have. And of course, once you buy it, it's yours for life. You always have it, unless you violate a rule and you get booted. Like sharing proprietary information or something.
Yes. If you don't have a YouTube channel, Andrew, you're going to be okay. If you have a YouTube channel and you say the wrong things, and I don't blame Mariana in the least. I mean, we have a very good relationship with her and everything else, but we've had our smacked a couple times because let some things slip. Totally unintentional, but she's protective of her baby, and I don't blame her in the least.
If you get a portable AC, you want a 2-hose version. They are getting hard to find, but Costco in Canada sells a Danby Medea that looks like it's one wide hose, but it has a divider in it. Okay, thank you, Greg. Yeah, all right. Do not worry about scorpions. Black Widow will kill you in 2 hours. Very rare, but just to be aware. Well, I've encountered black widows quite a number of times.
They're all over North Carolina.
They're pretty common in North Carolina. In fact, one time I was so fascinated by them that I took my camera outside and I got all kinds of photographs, male and female.
We had one that was birthing.
I came back in after taking all the pictures, and I think you asked me, did I kill them?
Yeah.
Because we had a dog that would go outside, and we didn't want the dog to get bit. And then when I went back outside, they were gone. So we just had an exterminator come over and spray just to make sure we didn't have them hanging around. I've seen them lots of times. I've never gotten bitten by one, but I do know that it is a neurotoxin. I also know it's also very rare for them to actually kill an adult. They can be fatal to children, and they can be fatal to small animals, like dogs and cats.
Which is why I was worried about the dog.
Right. So, if you get bitten, of course, you're going to need to see medical attention, and it's going to hurt like hell. The brown recluse is probably even worse in North Carolina, just simply because of the fact that it has a toxin that kills tissue.
And the problem with the brown recluse is also harder to spot because the black widow being black, it stands out. The brown, it's like, oh.
Well, and the brown recluse looks a lot like just an ordinary wolf spider or a jumping spider. It has like a fiddle on the back of it, kind of. So sometimes people misidentify it and they don't realize it, and then they get bitten, and it actually destroys tissue. They're harder to.
That reminds me of a episode of Emergency where they couldn't figure out what drugs this girl had taken.
Oh, Lord.
And it turned out that she hadn't taken any. She had been bitten by a black widow spider.
I will tell you this, because I'm a science nerd. If I did kill a spider, I used to cut its head off and look at it under a microscope. And the coolest thing about the eyes of a spider is, of course, they're very reflective, right? And if you look at a spider under a microscope, you will literally see the reflection of you in the eyes of this spider. And so you could wave your hand and everything else, and you could see all that in the spider's eye. It's so cool. I tried to do it with an ant once, and I felt bad because then I found out that ants don't really die immediately. Their central nervous system is built in a different way, and their head, they're alive until they starve to death. And then I'm like, oh no, he's not dead. Hours went by, hours. He's sitting in a petri dish, still moving his antenna around with no body.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. When you're out from Baja, wife and I want to be sure to be in the area to visit with you guys. Okay, Andrew. Let me see. I'm looking right now.
We are right now a year out. Almost.
I don't know why that QR code keeps coming up. We're going to be in La Paz.
Like I said,
The summer and the fall
almost a year out.
May through August next year.
Yeah.
May through August next year. So we'll be in Baja.
The last stop on the Gringos R Us tour.
Yep.
Hard to believe that.
I know. Meetups could be done in several destinations around the world. Guatemala's close. Costa Rica. Yeah. If the meetup is as successful as the last, why not? Hey, it could happen. It could happen. Why not?
Yeah, when we run through the people who want to host it here in Mexico, and we've had an opportunity probably to be able to say, okay, we've had it in SMA, we've had it now in Ajijic, and I'm not putting any pressure on Lisa and Terry, but if we want to host it in Puerto Vallarta, or if Brighton decides, hey, you know what? Everybody come to La Paz. We're going to host it in La Paz. There's a lot of different places here in Mexico. But once we exhaust all that, somebody may reach the point going, you know what?
Well, and there was
let's go to Costa Rica.
There was a request to have it in Merida, so that could happen too. Yeah, all over. And thank you, Tom. It kind of took a life of its own. It wasn't supposed to be a thing that we did. It was just something we were doing with Ernie. And then it did. And then it happened.
we will take the credit of driving to get it going. And you know what?
Yeah.
It not because of us, but because of all of you, it became so much bigger and better. That's true. And you guys are the ones, Stephanie, Tom, Anivette and Arlene, Mark and Vicky, Alfredo, all these people, Karen Sita and Mark and Paulette, Lisa and Terry, Ernie, KJ and Craig, all these people who showed up to make this thing happen, Shane and Ruby, you guys are the ones that made this thing. We just were thinking, hey, you know what? Let's go hang out. We might have 5-10 people show up. We'll have a few beers. We'll have some laughs, and we'll have a good time. And that was really our expectation. And then you guys blew it out of the water. So, we walked into it thinking, we're doing this. And no, you guys were the ones that took it to a totally different level than what we were anticipating.
For sure. And oh gosh, yes, those brown recluse. Oh, I've never actually seen one, but I've been worried that maybe there was one. And it's just because they're such a common color that they look like all these other spiders in North Carolina. And you got to look for that little fiddle thing on their body on the top or something. Never seen one, but I've seen the bites. I've seen them on patients in the hospital. They are not pretty, and they look horribly painful. So I'm going to mute this spider talk. Yeah, we're done with it.
Yeah,
we're done with the spider talk. And I never encountered scorpions till I came to Mexico, but I never lived out in the Midwest or anything in the U.S.
Well,
either,
you don't have to. I mean, the first time I ever encountered, I lived in New Mexico. Saw them in New Mexico, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then where Kate was born, we had an apartment in North Georgia, and walked in, and damn if there's not a scorpion.
No way.
In Hall County, Georgia.
What?
On the floor of our apartment.
Wow.
And I was like, nope. Guess what? Inside outside rule.
Yeah. Wow. All right, so there we go. May through August. Okay. It will be toasty. Yeah, we figured. It's kind of why we're there at that time of the year.
That's the whole point. If we love, let's say we fall in love with La Paz and go, if this is as bad as it gets, and one thing that La Paz has going for it, it's going to be the last on the rotation.
Yep.
So it'll be fresh in the mind, so.
Well, and I like this idea of seeing, fall and well season. The problem is that the timing of this is such that if we are to return our vehicle, we will have to have it out of the country.
Well, originally, the original plan was we were doing this for the entire 48 months. Duh. And we were about a year into it, and I looked at her and went, we need to rethink this, because let's just say, because we knew we were going to end up in BCS. And I went, what happens if La Paz isn't the choice, and let's just pick Merida? Okay. That is 1 day by ferry just to get back to Mazatlan. Then it's another 3 or 4 days of driving, because we only drive 7 to 8 hours a day, because we're not driving at night. So, basically it's a week at least to get from La Paz to Merida.
Yep.
Then we have to find a place to live. And then, oh, that's right, we have to get our permanent residence cards. And then we got 30 days to get the car
out of the country
to the border.
Unless we nationalize. Well,
unless we nationalize.
We don't know yet.
We don't know which way we want to go. But we went, we need a little bit of time to start putting all this together at the very end. And so that's why we shortened it by September, October, and part of November, and went, give us 2.5 months to be able to make our decision, get to that location, and then go.
Finalize our residency.
Okay, now we're here. So, yeah.
So it takes a little planning. And it's going to just depend. Where are we going to be? We don't know. We don't know.
And a lot of what we thought we knew sitting our ass on a couch in Asheville.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're like,
yeah, we can figure this all out.
We're going to have energy to go.
In the meantime, I'm coming down the stairs and passing out on the couch.
It's like, hold on, you're in your mid-60s, dumbass.
No. And La Paz is awesome, but you're going to sweat balls in the summer months.
That's what we're there to find out.
But that was it. If we can tolerate it and still like it, even sweating balls, then we know that it's a good year-round location for us. It's like Huatuco. Huatuco, we were sweating balls, and sweating balls so bad that I got a cyst that I had to get drained. And but we still like it there. But we know what to expect now. It's not the perfect, dreamy, ultimate destination that everybody makes it out to be simply because of the weather. But yet, the vibe in Huatuco is pretty freaking amazing. So there's concessions that could be made if we could tolerate that weather. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
And then that's what we're trying to find out. Because if we love it at its worst, we're definitely gonna go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So let's see here. Snakes are my nemesis. I've been bitten by a rattlesnake on a station in El Paso, and then a cottonmouth. Oh my goodness! Whoa! No, I have never been bitten by a snake, but I did have a rattler come
Well,
off.
damn, you got half of the Grand Slam. All you need is a coral and a copperhead, and you'll have all 4 of the poisonous reptiles in the U.S.
My sister used to capture garter snakes, and one got loose in the house one day, and I had to it was in a box, and it managed to get out of the box. Duh. And I had to chase it down in the basement and catch it and get it back outside. And I didn't like doing that. And those are not even dangerous snakes at all. And I didn't like doing it. You know, when they bite, it still hurts, whether it's poisonous or not. And they typically aren't very aggressive unless they feel threatened.
Well, it depends upon the snake.
My uncle shot a rattler very close to me one day in Oklahoma. We were out messing around, and it came up and was behind me, and he told me, "Don't move." And he had a gun out, and I'm like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" And he shot it. Like,
I'm glad he hit it.
So am I.
Yeah.
Let's see. Whale season in Baja is magical.
I'm sure. I mean,
I bet it is. But we've been in whale season in Alaska, so
and I've been in whale season in Hawaii.
Nice.
You know, and that's a hell of a lot easier to watch them when you're sitting there on the golf course looking out, watching the tails fluke, and you're in shorts going, it's 83. It's lovely here.
And yeah, run the AC for sure. When it's hot, it's hot. As long as we can afford to run it. Thank you, Tom. Good luck with your cardiologist. And I believe Baja will be cheaper. Less issues with car and tags. Yeah, we're going to look. We're going to look. I mean, obviously, Baja's in the free zone anyway.
I can tell you this right now. I'm already planning on doing this. And that is, I'm getting a Mexican driver's license in Baja.
In Baja.
Because apparently it is so much easier to just turn in a Mexican license for another Mexican license. And no place is it easier than Baja. So
supposedly.
Supposedly.
We don't know that for sure.
I'm just going on what other people have said. So
but yeah, that's something we want to do when we're there, and for each of us. And
gonna order my replacement because that's right, I lost mine.
And I need, we need to look and see if it's possible to nationalize our car while we're in Baja.
Is it
economically
feasible?
Right.
Our
car's got essentially a new engine in it. Until it falls apart.
Not essentially, it does have.
It's a new engine.
We just made this conversation the other day because we had to stop and get gas for only the 3rd time. We've been in Querétaro now for 5 months almost. It's only the 3rd time that we've gotten gas.
And don't go anywhere.
Well, I get that, but still, that's still pretty impressive. And looked at the odometer and went, wow, we only have 16,000 miles on that engine. That engine went right before we came down here. And a lot of those miles were going from North Carolina, Kansas City, back North Carolina, then making the trip again, then going up to South Dakota, and then coming back. So there's a good chunk of change right there. So we really have not put that many miles on it. Considering where all we've been, it's been like,
wow. Buying a new car in Mexico can take a while. Buying a used car in Mexico is a little risky.
Well, it's like buying a used car anywhere. What problem am I buying?
Yeah. So if it costs less for us to keep our car, which is essentially in pretty good shape, then we'll nationalize it if it's even possible. I know they're very restrictive on the years of the age of the car. We'll see. Otherwise, we're going to drive it on the side.
If it's 3/4 of the price of a new car, no.
Right.
No,
obviously.
Yeah.
We are going to be in the area.
PV?
Puerto Vallarta. We will be there winter and spring. So January 10th through March 14th.
Yep.
Boom, boom. I know. I used to think we were going to keep keep you guessing, but
I know, but see,
We're at the end now, so.
well, Lisa and Terry are going to see if they can talk to their property manager there about possibly getting us a place.
Oh, that would be cool.
I know.
That would be very cool. We have been looking, buying Cerritos Beach for some time, going back in November to look some more. Okay. Good deal. Did I miss something? LOL. Okay.
No, Stephanie and him. Stephanie was so glad she didn't have balls.
Oh, balls. I don't. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No balls. But you have the ladies, and those tatas don't feel good when they're sweaty either. Just saying. It's not that bad. Okay.
And until the boys run into something they're not meant to run into, and then it's like, you know, I think Gina finally understood, you know, watching sporting events, and all of a sudden would see people, the guys go
see
down.
the guys grab their crotch
and go down and be like, and I'm going, yep, I know what that is. Been there, done that. And, you know, it's the biggest agony you have for 5 minutes. And then after that, you're just like, okay. No.
Yeah. All right. That's the end of the live, because we are, oh, Lord, we're definitely over 3 hours and pushing it.
Oh.
8:08.
Okay. Well, that's why a little over 3 hours.
A little over 3 hours.
That's not even close to our longest.
I know.
We're an hour and a half away from our longest.
Really? Did we have a 4.5
Yes,
hour
we
one?
did.
I cannot remember.
Yeah.
That's too long. I think
3 hours is.
3 hours is long. 4.5 is too long.
I can't remember why we did that, but it was one of those where it just sort of got away from us.
I don't know. I got to work on a video, because I got to get our video up for Saturday.
Yeah, and we're going to be busy Saturday because we're hopefully you get eyeglasses and the bank account.
I see so many South Dakota plates.
Yeah.
I'm confused on nationalizing car. I don't believe that's a thing in the free zone. I read somewhere that somebody was able to do it.
I mean,
in Baja, that it was easier, probably because it's a free zone.
No, I have seen that people will sell U.S. plated cars in BCS, and I'm not sure how all that works, but I've seen them advertise selling it. So it's a possibility, you know, wherever we may end up of going, you know what? Instead of driving to the border, drive to BCS, sell it.
Yeah.
What, you know,
And
if we can get as much.
The government did some kind of program for chocolate cars.
Chocolate cars.
Which are basically cars that have overextended their stay here illegally, where they would allow them to be nationalized, and they expanded the requirements or whatnot. Not quite the same thing.
No, we
don't know.
We like playing by the rules. It's one of those. It's like, okay, you know.
Regina has to work. I am so tired. I'm like Madeline Kahn in Blazing Saddles. I'm tired. So tired of love. I am exhausted, and I'm just I'm
kaput.
But you know what? It really feels good when that money hits the bank account. Just saying.
It beats the feeling we had about 6 months ago. So
it took us up until last paycheck. So last week, it took us up until last week to pay off all the credit cards that we were living on.
Yeah, it was.
While I didn't have a job.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah. So everything got paid off, and we're back in zero debt again. This next paycheck coming up is 100% bank.
Hello, American Airlines and Avis Rent-A-Car.
Now we got to buy, budget rental car,
whatever,
and airlines, tickets, and everything now. But I mean, still.
That's okay. So, she loves my family.
I do love his family. You know. And always great spending time. Thank you, guys. You know what? Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. We really do enjoy just chatting it up with you and answering questions.
It's happy hour.
Getting your feedback.
It's like everybody getting around a table and having a discussion. We enjoy that.
We do a lot. And I don't know, I guess maybe I'll have a birthday party in 3 weeks or so.
We'll let you know.
If I ever sit down and actually work on these videos again, maybe you'll see some of this stuff we've been doing.
The plan is there'll be one this weekend.
There is a plan. There's one this weekend. It's half done. I just have to finish it.
And we actually have a script for another one right after that shouldn't be too difficult to put together. It's motivation.
It's motivation right now, and I'm feeling burned out. So I'm trying to get to it. But thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We will see you again in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Go Canes.
Ciao, ciao. Hope the Canes win.
Yep.
And anything else?
That's it.
All right. Adios.
Hasta la vista.